Okay, dokie, people. What is happening? What is
How we
happening?
feeling?
We are now,
I
what,
get
2 days after the NFL draft, is it?
Honestly,
It's all blur.
it's all blurred. Kind of miss it already.
I miss it, but also I don't because we have a really good schedule going where our lives make sense. And then when the NFL draft happens, it's like any schedule gets thrown out the window. It's like wake up, stream, record a video, edit it, and you're about now you can sleep, but wake up, stream. It's like, damn, I love it, but give me some sense of like structure in my life again, please.
Sure.
But we are excited to be with you guys here tonight, bringing back the Dynasty team reviews. We had a little stop there on Friday because obviously the draft was happening. Well, Thursday night for you guys, and obviously we're back here new week to do a draft with y'all, or to help you guys with your Dynasty teams. Do us a favor, hit that like button if you're just watching, just joining here, and if you don't know, we are going to be reviewing people's Dynasty teams on tonight's stream. Everyone's team that we review tonight has two things in common. All right. Number one, they're a Mother Flocker member. Number two, they used code LAND. All right. Everyone's team that we review tonight will be a Mother Flocker member with the promo code LAND. So if you want your team to be reviewed, you're going to see us review some teams. You're going to see us give people some ideas on how to improve their rosters. Then that is the way you get a team review from us. Not only do you get a team review, you get our rookie report and everything you see here on your screen. Incredible value, in my opinion. And we are proud to be able to offer it. But we see y'all in the chat. We see you. Who is hanging with us? We got Sean. We got Chase. Bravo draft is tomorrow. We'll be live tomorrow. What's up, I alternate? Yeah. What's up, Chris? What's up, Sean? Cole's here. WG, Kyle. We've got nine in the chat. Liam is here. WG says, wake up, drink, go to sleep, stream, faded. What's up, Christian? ATJ, Peyton, Tom. The whole gang is here. We appreciate you. Hit that like button as the stream starts. All right, the first team we are looking at today is Cristo. Cristo is the first team we are looking at here today. Big love. Again, thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for becoming a Mother Flocker member with the promo code LAND. And, we won't be able to answer as many questions in the chat today because we will be trying to give Cristo his time. And everyone who has become a member, we're going to try and give them their time to really shine and get the most out of their review. So just keep that in mind. We might do Q&A at the end, but of course the chat is always talking with each other, so you love to see it. But Cristo is the first team we're looking at today. Is Cristo in the chat with us? I wonder.
Let us know.
If he is, then let us know. But Cristo is here with us. Do you want to read that context for us?
Yeah. Here we go. 12-team full PPR start, 10 SuperFlex, no tight end premium, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 3 flex. So you can start up to 5 wide receivers in this league here. He says, looking for input on draft capital and how to solidify myself a chance to compete for years to come. Clearly need help with running backs. I broke down after the first 6 weeks because I lost 5 close matches with probably a top 5 team, and I love this rookie class. I made a few trades, and they are the following. Okay, let's maybe skip that and then go to the next part. And then
well, first off, that's a couple great trades that he's made. But yeah, let's go to the next one for sure.
So I try to use 1 of 4. So I'm trying to see where I can pick
right
up
here. Yeah.
Yeah, right. I try to use 1 of 4 top picks with extra to get a top tier back, but they wanted so much of Bijan, Gibbs, and Etienne. 101 is Caleb, and the 102 is the worst team in the league with literally no quarterback. So Martin Harrison Jr. and Malik Neighbors at 3 and 4 is possible. I clearly need running backs, so I guess I'm just curious on who would you think would be the best pivot in my wide receiver, or if I should just stick and pick for best value and try to trade for running backs after draft and early season. If the 102 goes receiver, I would likely take Mays, Daniels, Neighbors, Rome. If they go quarterback, I'm thinking next quarterback available plus Marvin, Neighbors, and Rome. Okay, likely trying to shop one of the young quarterbacks for some sort of hole. Eventually, that entails a running back if the 102 goes receiver. Gosh, I'm trying Not a huge stack to see. T. Higgins seems like the obvious pivot after he hopefully balls out a little bit. Tough because he could be a monster #1 somewhere next year on a big free agent deal. I need to make great moves this draft because future picks cap is weak. Appreciate any other general advice from you guys. We appreciate you, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we appreciate you big time. Thanks for the love.
We got to break this down because there was a lot of trades there.
So he is whole team for sale 2.0. Keep Trade Cut has him ranked 2nd out of his league. It is a pretty well balanced league though. So that's good to see. 12-man. Let's get the roster straight. 12-man, start 10. So just so we're on the same page, it looks like 2 quarterbacks, obviously SuperFlex, right? 2 quarterbacks, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers. He has 3 flex spots. And so how would that be start 10 there? Hold 2, 4, 6. That would be 9, right?
Yeah, maybe.
Am I misreading this though? Maybe.
Well, 1 quarterback.
Christian can let us know how is it different from that.
Well, maybe we're not counting the quarterback. We're not counting the other quarterback. Oh, you did. So 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide. So what's that? 5.
That's 2, 4, 6. That's 9. 10. And I didn't have the tight end. Okay. Well, he didn't have tight end there. I thought the tight end was in the flex spot. Some leagues you don't have to start tight end, but
yeah, you forgot the tight end.
Some leagues you don't have to start a tight end, so I didn't know if he was one of those leagues.
Okay.
But let's see. Maybe this is it. Maybe he does have a starting tight end. Let us know. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Gotta start 10.
Okay, cool. So we've got that format then.
Okay, awesome. All right, well, let's look at this team first, and maybe we look at the trades. Or should we look at the trades first?
Let's look at the team first.
Yeah, because I think there was a lot of trade context there. And let's see what this trade looks like, and then maybe what we wouldn't have done when it comes down to some trades here. At the quarterback position, like Zach said, it looks like it's a fairly even team. Quarterback, Joe Burrow, Anthony Richardson, Aaron Rodgers. I think your quarterback room is set. You don't have to make any moves there. Running back room, Chase Brown, Big O Roscoe, Rico, AJ Brown. You did kind of mention that this was pretty weak at the running back room, and you could definitely address this running back room potentially in this draft class, especially with the picks that you do have here. But we'll wait and see what we can definitely do here. You could start up to 5 wide receivers, and your starting 5 is Devonta Smith, Jordan Addison, T. Higgins, Rasheed Rice, Jahan Dotson at the moment. But you do have draft capital where that is 100% going to change here, most likely, with Bolton Kincaid and Cole Kmet at your tight end position. So this team is fairly decent. This is a really good team.
Good foundation.
Especially with the draft capital. The running back room is definitely somewhere that we're going to be improving, hopefully, here today.
Well, even, like I'm looking at this team, I'm thinking that's the last thing I want to build into anyway. So you're building the right way. You got quarterbacks, you got a solid tight end, good wide receivers. That's the last thing we want to even think about. So that's totally okay.
Yeah.
To the whiteboard.
Yeah, to the whiteboard here. And we're kind of break down as Zach is kind of setting this up here.
I wanted to understand exactly what he was saying with the 101 and the 102. He said the 101 is Caleb for sure. And basically, I think what he's saying is he doesn't know if the 102 is going to go Marvin or quarterback.
Yeah, because the 101, exactly. Because the 102 needs quarterback.
Who has the 102? That's team 3.
Team 3, Desmond Ridder, Malik Neighbors. So they can definitely go quarterback there, where you can end it up. But the thing is, which we'll break down, you have the 104 to the 106 locked, okay, and you have the 112. So
yeah, I was just gonna say let's play those 2 worlds out, where you get Marv or you get a Daniels.
Yeah. Right.
So at the 103, let's say they do go quarterback, so you get Marv in there. With this team, I'm going Neighbors back to back. That's fantastic, actually.
I think I'm happy to not go quarterback and get these wide receivers. And at the 105, you could get another quarterback here if you want to get a JJ McCarthy and then a Rome Odunze with the 106.
I almost feel like this team,
or you can trade back.
This is a team that I wouldn't be opposed to trading the picks to fill the rest of my roster out and get the most value out of them that way. But you're right. Like if we were to stick and pick here, this would be Drake May. This would be JJ McCarthy, and that's fantastic. There's no reason that you can't do that. That gives you the opportunity, by the way, to go out and shop a Joe Burrow and Anthony Richardson if you want. You can move one of those names if you'd like to, and maybe that is a Bijan deal. Maybe that's a Jahmyr Gibbs deal plus picks. if you want to look into that. So that's fine. The 112, I think, is typically going to end up being one of those wide receivers. Brian Thomas Jr., from what we've seen so far, your McConkeys, your Worthies, and I also think Benson Brooks will fall into that range in some leagues as well. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would agree there.
So I think, honestly, the best case scenario for this team is that Team 2 does indeed go quarterback.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's going to look like this.
Right.
Jaden Daniels. Can't spell today, sorry. Oh my gosh. Then you're going to get Malik Neighbors. And then I still think the best players available at the 105 and the 106 are J.J. McCarthy and Drake May. He says,
I completely agree there.
hoping for Benson or Brooks at the 112. He says,
think
check
most likely
those
will
trades,
be
though.
there.
Some of them are spicy. We will. We just wanted to understand your team before we looked
Yeah.
at them. But we can go back now.
I have a couple ideas already here for trade options, but yes.
So let's go through those
are some
trades.
great trades there. Yeah, Jameson Williams for the 105 and the 205. So
That's crazy
100%.
value. Great
That's
job.
crazy. I traded away Josh Allen for Burrow, Higgins in the 311 there. I don't mind that trade.
Yeah, kind of indifferent on it.
Yeah, I think you could potentially. I don't think you could have gotten more actually. Maybe a second. That's what I say. Maybe that's what I would have switched it out for. But still, I like that trade, getting that extra wide receiver. I traded away Mixon, DK, and 2/3 for Rice in the 104. I think it's a great trade.
Big W.
I traded Kyron and 2/4 for Roscoe, the 106, and a 25/3.
Love it. You couldn't get that done today.
No, not at all. You traded Sam Howell 2 seconds, 226 first. Expected to be late in 2 seconds and 25 for AR, the 112, the 303.
I guess that's the price of AR. I don't know how much I love it, but
yeah,
I guess that's the price of him. He says I tried to use one of the top 4 picks and extras for Bijan, Gibbs, Etienne. Okay. Look, I like all those trades. I don't know how I feel about the A-Rich one because projecting 2 years out is really tough. We really don't know what teams will look like in 2 years from now.
I'm assuming one of those 26 first was yours, and the next one I'm not sure who that was. But it's all right.
Definitely could still pan out, no doubt.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people would.
I think it's great. 100%. I think a lot of people would pay that price as well. So
all right, talk us through the scenarios you were thinking of. You mentioned.
Yeah, so you can see here. I just want to reiterate this. So you stick and pick Marvin, Neighbors, Drake, JJ. Best player available at the 112. Okay. And then the other scenarios is getting Daniels. Yeah, okay. All right. My next scenario is trading out of the 105. Keeping the 106 and trading out, well, either one, whichever one you really want to do that with. And I see that Team 3, the real Dean Daddy here, he has 108. I'm happy to trade back to the 108 and maybe get a second in return if you can, because he does need quarterback. So he's getting the 102, and if that 102 is Jaden Daniels, can we trade with the real deal or Dean here and get that 108 and give him the 105 or 106 so that he can say, hey, you can get Drake May, you can get JJ McCarthy here, and all you have to do is give me that 202. Maybe that's too much because the 202 is worth a lot today. It feels like, but I think that is a phenomenal trade. Team 3.
Team 3.
Yeah.
Right. So they have the 108. They can get 2. Well, right. So here's the problem, though. If you do that deal, you're no longer getting Marvin.
Why would you no longer be getting Marvin?
Because that guy's at the 105. Like, okay, I'll grab Marvin and whoever falls to me at quarterback.
Not unless he gets Marvin and Malik Neighbors, and then he can still get a quarterback.
What do you mean? I don't understand.
If
you give this team, Team 3, the 105, at the 102, they are now comfortable taking Marvin.
No. Right. But I get what you're saying. In my personal opinion, like I'm doing that trade if I know he's not taking Marvin at the 102. Now, I get what you're saying.
I think if you make that trade pre-draft, I think that guy then takes Marvin. That's what I'm saying. You're going to screw yourself over a little bit.
So you can do this in draft if you wanted to, but like if he does go, my thought process is he wants to get 2 quarterbacks here because who does he have to start? He has Desmond Ridder, Malik. He has no quarterbacks.
I get it, but he's not going to care. Look at his wide receivers, brother.
I get it. I get that as well. So if that is the case, I would agree with you that I would be doing that after the NFL draft, after he takes Jaden Daniels, and then saying, hey, do you want to come up and get another quarterback here?
Yeah, I think there's a good chance you could put yourself in a bad spot. But there are other options, obviously. I mean, to me, the first thing I thought about is trying to get a Bijan or a Gibbs with one of these picks. Christopher, by the way, says I think he's trying to tank for 2025. He has hella picks in 25 and 26. But even if I'm taking team, I'm probably still taking Marv there, but I could be wrong. The other option is team 1. If they wanted to trade up maybe into that category for something, you know, can we send them the 105 and get back the honestly, any one of those picks, by the way. I actually don't care which one of it is, and the 201. 109, 110, 111, is that what he has?
Yeah.
Is that right?
9, 10, 11, yeah.
That would be ideal for you because you trade back to one of those picks. Let's say that ends up being a Lad McConkey or a Brian Thomas Jr. And then when you pick Benson and Brooks, it doesn't feel like you forced it. You went back and got the most value you could, you know?
Yeah.
And if he wants that to be the 111, I genuinely don't care. I'm totally fine with that. But you are a little bit limited in the trade back options because he owns so many of those picks.
Exactly.
And you own so many of those picks.
That's the problem here. You're kind of trading with each other. Like, and the guy that has the 107 is probably just going to get... The guy that has the 107 could go any way. He can go roam, maybe a quarterback.
The other option that I was thinking about was we just go hard after a Bijan. So team 11 here, I think they could afford to lose a Bijan, and they have no draft picks in this class whatsoever. They got CJ, they got Tua, that's fine. They might want another third, I don't know. But also their wide receiver room is very old. It's getting up there. I don't really know how comfortable they feel not having a first until... They don't have a future first at all. Are they really looking at this team and thinking like, yeah, we're going to keep pushing this all the way to 2027? I don't know. I'm not sure that's actually going to happen. He says he offered me the 103 and Rasheed for Bijan. That's an overpay. No one's sending the 103 for Bijan, are they? That feels like a huge overpay. Well, in that case, he might not be a reasonable person to trade with. But yeah. I was thinking the 105, and if you can give me Bijan, then we'll call it settled. But no, I'm not going to give you the 103 and Rashee Rice. That's ridiculous and completely unrealistic from that person. I mean, look at this guy's team. Surely he wants to inject some youth in here.
Yeah, 103 is a bit absurd.
Okay, Christopher says, I counter with that, and he laughed. Well, if he's laughing, why don't you send him this link, send him this time code. Brother, we can all see your team. We know that you're in a tough spot. You got no future first-round picks until 2027. All right? You got an older team. Bijan Robinson is the one piece that you can move outside of Stroud. And it's way reasonable to talk at the 105.
Brother.
It's way reasonable. Shouldn't be laughing at that offer, all right? Maybe you don't like it, but you shouldn't be laughing at it. But if that guy's unreasonable, let's talk to the Gibbs owner.
Yeah, Gibbs. I mean, and this is why I think a lot of people wouldn't do it unless they absolutely need something. But yes, like Gibbs owner is great. I'm happy to go Gibbs, Bijan.
I feel like after that Kirk Cousins, Michael Penix situation, this person would be very open to trying to get into the first round. And they have decent running backs, by the way. Like, Gibbs is expendable for them. I wouldn't pay any more than the 105, but I'd actually want maybe Gibbs and, like, they have a third round in there, do they? Like the 302. I feel like that's pretty reasonable this year. He says Gibbs guy is much more reasonable.
Okay.
Rowan says, let's not make this guy mad. Just wait until his team goes up in flames. Sauce says, how do I submit my team? Very simple, guys. All you got to do is become a Mother Flocker member with the promo code LAND. I'll put a direct link in the chat for you right now. When you sign up, I suggest to click the instant access button. That way you don't have to wait for your trial to end. But when you sign up, become a Motherflocker member with the promo code LAND. Link your Discord in the top right here when you go to account. And then you should be able to see all of our premium Discord channels in the Discord, including the roster submissions tab here where Chris has submitted his team. DM us if you have any questions. But
yeah,
Gibbs seems pretty reasonable here.
Yeah, the Gibbs deal feels reasonable. I would even throw Bijan potentially into that conversation. I don't know how you feel about Bijan. And the Bijan team is team
Well, we
6.
just talked about that in depth, though.
Sorry, not Bijan. Breece Hall.
Okay, I was like, what
Sorry.
are we talking about?
Not Bijan. Breece Hall. Because this guy has Breece Hall, Jonathan Taylor, Saquon Barkley.
Sure, yeah, that's probably
he has opportunity to kind of walk away from some of these guys, and he has a 107 and probably wants to get another wide receiver, knowing that he can start five wide receivers here. CeeDee Lamb, Tyreek Hill, Cooper Kupp are his 3 wide receivers that he's going in comfortably starting here.
I think there's a lot of room for a couple different deals. The 105 and Breece is a conversation, but also like, can I move back to the 107 and get Zach Moss? I've done a similar deal like that in a rookie draft, where I move back a couple spots, get a running back that I think is going to be a potential starter. I mean, you could even add, like, because it's such a premium move, for Raheem Mostert in that too. That guy's got the horses to move some of them dudes, if you get what I'm saying. You couldn't get a Barkley, Taylor, Hall with that, but you could get the 105.
Well, the thing is, he has the 112. I'm trying to think of what can you do to get because Saquon's kind of ranged around the 108, 109, 110 range. What happens if he were to throw like a
Liam, I hear you. He says, as a Bijan owner, I invested so much time in him a year ago. I don't want to sell him for pennies on the dollar. But that would be acting like if this was like a terrible draft and you had like 3 players going round 1. Think about how good this draft is. How many offensive players went in the top 12? How many elite prospects there? I mean, I get it, but I don't know. We gotta think about it differently. And by the way, Bijan wouldn't be the 101 this year. In case we have to say that, Hunter comes in the chat and we can respect the thought. He says, why is he the 101 last year and now he's the 105? He would not be the 101 this year. It wouldn't even be close as good as he is.
100%, 1,000%. You can see all this talent with the quarterbacks. I mean, we saw 6 quarterbacks go in the first round. You're taking at least 5. You're taking most likely 5 of those quarterbacks based on the quarterback hit rates in the first round in that draft capital. Just specifically on that,
he might be in the conversation in top 4 or 5, but he's not the one. People aren't taking him over Marv. They're probably not taking him over Neighbors. I don't think they're taking him over Daniels. They're not taking him over Caleb.
I don't think you take him over JJ. My personal opinion. I could be wrong there, especially with the.
I think that's where the conversation would start. But people wouldn't they know how much like these wide receivers are worth in a dynasty league.
Yeah, 100%. So
I don't believe that he would go over Marv or Neighbors or Daniels or Caleb. So you gotta keep in mind the strengths of each class. The 101 is not worth the same in every class.
100%, 1,000%. But yeah, I mean, some of these guys here at the running back position are really good that we kind of mentioned. We told you to go out and get Bijan, Gibbs, Breece, Zach. We're talking about Zach Moss and Raheem Mostert here.
Apparently, people are saying Bijan would go as a 101 this year. Is that real? People would take Bijan at the 101 this year.
I mean, I personally don't think so.
I just can't believe that's real.
This is what I would say. Before you knew the landing spots, people were so 100% in on Brock Bowers. Look at the landing spot with Brock Bowers and how that fell, especially now with the quarterback play and how these guys went. I just think that the wide receivers and the quarterbacks are more valued significantly higher than the running back position.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we can spot the Bijan owners in this chat. I could be wrong.
I'm a Bijan owner too, but
I got no problems with you like making a case for it. But I'm sorry. If everyone had a chance to redraft the last 2 years, I just can't buy that they would take Bijan over.
Well, maybe that's what we should do. Maybe that's the next video we should do there. By the way,
over Marvin. Are people taking Bijan over Marvin? Really? we for sure Marvin Harrison Jr., top 5 pick, generational prospect? We're
I
throwing
just
that
think
out
that
the window.
I think people are not sold on these quarterbacks from what it sounds like.
I think the earliest is the 103. I mean, you got to put CJ ahead of him if we're doing the last 2. I'm still taking Daniels over him, by the way. But that's all right. We're going to get too far into the rabbit hole here. Okay? Yeah. It sounds like maybe Bijan's unreasonable then. That's fine. If Bijan's an unreasonable ask, don't even worry about it. Go get a Gibbs. Go get a Brees. Go move back a couple spots for some vets like we talked about here. But ultimately, I just want to patch that position and get stronger at the other positions even more, you know? And, you know, I'm looking at the draft capital that you have, these 303s, the 311s. Like, can we go out and send some of these for some veterans that we think are going to produce? Like, what is the price of an Alvin Kamara considering how good this class is? You know,
it'd be third round picks. That's where I was going to go to next.
Yeah, well, go ahead. Tell us some of those people in that range for you.
Well, for me, some of these people in this range, I think of Joe Mixon. I think of Alvin Kamara. I think of Raheem. Well, Raheem is a little bit more.
He'll be cheaper now for sure.
He'll be cheaper, no question. I even think of Pacheco. I don't know if anyone's paying a mid to early second for Isaiah Pacheco, respectfully, not in this draft class. Like all these guys, I think some of these running back.
He's probably a mid to late second in this class.
Yeah. But yeah, some of those guys, I love David Montgomery as well.
He probably might be more expensive, but you can start a conversation around it and see what they think. I was just looking at mine.
What about Ramondre Stevenson?
Yeah. That's what I was going to say, Ramondre.
I like Ramondre
or even Najee and Warren.
Yeah, I like all those guys.
I mean, you get like 2 of these. Basically, what I'm trying to help you get to is like one of these teams that I have here, like the Alpha League, for example. Like I am strong everywhere except for running backs, but I got so many dudes that can fill a hole.
Dudes just trying to be dudes.
You know, we're strong at quarterback. We got Lamar. We got Trevor. We're strong at wide receiver. We got CD, Jefferson, AJ Brown, Olave, Jason, just drafted Ladd McConkey, Troy Franklin. We got a tight end we love. But we're just shuffling through running backs. I got Kyron there. I think he lost value. Pollard. But we've also got Zach Moss we just traded for, like I mentioned. We got Ramondre there, Tajay, Kendre. We're trying to fill those holes because the rest of my team is going to take me to the playoffs. That's the kind of way I want to build this team out.
I'm about to send some trades out. I got Bijan Robinson in a couple leagues. Sorry to sidetrack.
Yeah, if Bijan is going as a top 3 pick, I am selling him every single time.
1,000%. I mean, I got Bijan in a couple leagues here. I'm about to find out what I can get from my guy.
This is definitely interesting.
Because if you tell me I can get a top 3 pick right now,
oh yeah, I'll trade for the Alvin Kamara of 2023 every year for the next 3 years instead. The vet that lost all of its value, that is, going to be a top 12 per game performer. It's not that Bijan isn't great. He's fantastic. I think he's going to be a star. I think he has RB1 upside, no doubt. He is the RB1 in Dynasty, but I would rather build my team a different way, and that is okay. But I think these are the ways that you can go about doing this. And by the way, if you do have to stick and pick, I think this is a worst case scenario 2, where you actually draft 3 quarterbacks. But that's totally fine, because if people don't believe in these names, guess what? They do believe in Joe Burrow. They do believe in Anthony Richardson, right? Yep. So you can absolutely move those guys and wiggle that around. But ultimately, I think you're building a monster here. You don't have future picks, so I don't love that, but you will have so much talent to negotiate with. So if you wanted future picks, you could absolutely get there.
Yeah, I completely agree. Sorry, I'm getting sidetracked here with these Bijans. I'm sending a trade out right now, just for the lulz. Would you guys? So you telling me it's straight up? By the way, so 103 for Bijan, chat.
Apparently,
or should I get something else in return, like a little bit of sprinkle? Anyways,
well, there are people out here saying that they wouldn't trade the 101 for him. They would rather have Bijan over Caleb or Marv. So let's see. I mean, look, we could be so dumb. It wouldn't be the first time, but
sure.
I think you got a lot of different ways to improve this team. You've got picks in a class that everyone is absolutely obsessed with. Everyone is absolutely obsessed with it. So you've got a lot of wiggle room. But we talked about the main trade backs. I think any of these deals would be ideal for you.
Yeah,
I have
agree.
no problem sending the 105 for a Gibbs or a Brees. I think that's realistic. In our leagues, I think it might be more realistic. I don't know about the general consensus. And also, I love the idea of trading back to the 107 for one of these names. I mean, I do not think it's possible, but if you can even move back just for Saquon and you give them your third, that's a huge win too. Was it the 303 he has? Like, that would be a huge win as well. But definitely shop some of those offers. Ultimately, we want to get stronger at wide receiver, and we want to kind of if we don't get a Brees, Bijan, or a Gibbs, we want to patch those holes with vets. So
yeah, I agree here. I completely agree. And look, the 303, and now that we can kind of put names to it, just keep this in mind. Javon Baker, Jermaine Burton, Roman Wilson, Malachi Corley all went in our top 4 picks in the 3rd round in our alpha draft. Obviously, every league is different, but just keep that in mind. I think these are phenomenal picks in the 3rd round. Early 3rd round picks are valuable here. Okay, so
yeah.
I like these guys, and I like all those running backs as well.
So I want to give Chris an opportunity here. If there's anything we didn't cover, let us know if you have any specific questions. I am going to send you this whiteboard over to your Discord, but please let me know if there's anything that we did not cover well enough that you had questions about. We would love to obviously just make sure that you feel comfortable moving forward. But I think you're definitely trying to compete this year and for plenty of years to come. I don't really notice a true sell high on this team. Like we said, if you do get those quarterbacks, you can look at selling Burrow and Richardson. But Smith, none of these wide receivers are sell highs. And I'm not moving Kincaid.
You're not I'm not moving Kincaid whatsoever. Devonta Smith, Jordan Addison. I mean, I'm interested in where Jordan Addison's at the moment, actually. Now with JJ McCarthy, let's see how far he's risen off boards. He went up 10 spots.
He did?
In the community. According to Keep Trade Cut, he's wide receiver 20. And according to this, before the NFL draft...
No, he hasn't moved much.
No, he hasn't moved much. Not looking at it. The lowest he's ever been is wide receiver 25.
Yeah,
May 17.
Not
crazy.
Not a big move, but...
Why did they say he moved up 10 spots? Maybe that's on the whole total, maybe. Yeah, not just the wide receiver room. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I sent a couple trades out there for Bijan.
Chris says, in a stick and pick, worst case, do you suggest 3 quarterbacks instead of 2 neighbors in Rome? If you're gonna try and force Rome there, I just think you're not getting the most value out of your pick, and there's no problem doing that. But you have to recognize that.
Look,
ultimately, I would rather move away from a Burrow or a Richardson or trade one of those quarterbacks, as we get closer to the season, than rather try and force a Rome Odunze there. I mean, you can even look at moving back 1 spot from the 106 to the 107. I mean, that's the last thing we can look at here.
Yeah, this is tough. I think, look, we're always going to advise you. We're always going to advise you. The number team 6 has a 107, who has Lamar Russell Wilson, so he probably could get a quarterback.
I mean, if you want to even move back 1 spot for Zach Moss there, get some value from it. Don't just stick and pick, even if you just want to move back 1 spot.
This is what I would say, because I think ultimately a lot of people do like saying, 3 quarters. In this scenario, in stick and pick, you're getting 2 quarterbacks here, and you already have 2 starting quarterbacks. Maybe that's overkill in your perspective. And I agree with Zach. You're not getting the best value out of your player or out of your picks there. But I think with this team and in this construction, I am not opposed to going Rome Odunze, because in reality, it's only 1 pick, and what more can you get in return? This guy's probably going to want to do a pick swap, and if you can't do that pick swap because you don't have a second, or maybe even 25 second, or whatever the case may be, I am not opposed to doing that, but that's your decision. But yes, we will always tell you to get the most out of your picks when it comes down to this. And at the moment, JJ McCarthy is worth more than Roma Dunze in our eyes because of the draft capital, because of the landing spot, and because of where we project him to be.
Yeah. Let me ask you
So keep
this.
that in mind.
In a year from now, and I know a lot of people see this differently, do you see Adunze having a Chase, Jefferson, Puka type rookie year with DJ Moore and Keenan Allen there attached to a rookie quarterback? A rookie quarterback that's very good. Do you see him having that type of year? I don't like you. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But let's say JJ only starts 6 games and he's the starter heading into year 2. I just don't think JJ is less valuable than Roma Dunze next year in a startup, but I absolutely could be wrong. There's so much projection there. So I just don't think you're going to maximize value even if you don't make the trades right during the NFL draft that you need to make. It's not something that I would do, but I'm not going to sit here and say that it's dumb or that you can't do it. It's just not the way I would go about doing it, basically.
Yeah. Rolling, brother.
I am going to send you this whiteboard over in the fantasy hotline, so you have that now. But we appreciate you, Chris. He says it would be sick to lock Marvin, Neighbors, and Rome with May or JJ. But yeah, I planned on BPA. Yeah, I definitely hear you there.
I mean, look, that would be amazing as well. Like, still getting a third quarterback, getting all 3 wide receivers, that would be phenomenal. Yeah. Genuinely. So, just
you got time.
However way you want to go.
We appreciate you big time, my man. I just sent you that hotline, that whiteboard over in the fantasy hotline. So you have that now. You can obviously bookmark this video, come back and watch at any point, and we are available to you in the hotline for anyone with an active membership. But we appreciate you, man. Anyone who is watching this and they want their Dynasty team reviewed, the process is very, very simple. All you got to do is become a Mother Flocker member with the promo code LAND. I'll put a direct link in the chat. Again, sign up to the Flock Fantasy website with our code LAND and become a Mother Flocker member. We just released our final version of our rookie report. Might be some updates, but this is what you need to dominate your draft, in my opinion. Historical hit rates, all the rankings for one quarterback, SuperFlex, no matter what league you play in, and profiles for every single player. My guys, all that is in there. Also, you get access to our rankings, obviously, our trade calculator, and eventually this My Teams feature we will use. We're just trying to get all the bugs out of the way before we use it consistently. But yeah, like I mentioned, direct link in the chat if you want to become a Mother Flocker member with the code LAND. You can see everything that you would get in return for supporting the boys.
The boys. We appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. And I cannot believe you're missing out on Thunder and Pelicans.
I do not play. I beg you not to tell me anything.
You
are going to absolutely ruin my day if you tell me anything.
No, I'm not telling you anything, but you guys are chilling.
I don't even want to know that.
I don't
want to know we're chilling and then watch the video.
I'm not saying you're chilling based off score. I'm saying you're chilling based on that you're up 3-0.
Okay. I don't want to know anything.
That's all I'm saying.
I don't want to know spoilers at all. Okay.
See you in the finals, huh?
Go down. That was cool. Okay, so next team. Next team is Obi-Wan Skinobi.
Obi-Wan Skinobi.
Gaming up in his league.
Obi-Wan Skinobi.
Is Obi-Wan in the chat with us? Let us know if you're in the chat, brother man. Because we are going to review your team right here or right now. Right here.
Yeah.
Right now.
So I'm seeing all these. Okay.
All right,
Obi-Wan,
go ahead.
Let's look at this context here. He says this is a third year. Year in the league.
You said the entire Thunder team just died. No, stop it. No, don't do it to me. Okay, go ahead.
I've been to the championship the first 2 years, but lost both times. The only trade I made this offseason was Goddard, Mike Evans, and Zach Moss for Trey McBride in the 212 this year. Okay. I don't have a first this year, but I have the 205 and the 212. Okay.
So we don't know team name?
No, but he does have Trey McBride. So
he has Trey McBride, and we don't know the format, but hopefully it looks like a one quarterback start 9.
Who's Harry? Who's Harry's? That guy. Team 4. Team 4 looks like it's his team. Potentially.
Okay. We're just gonna say Coombe. Who's Harry Coombe?
That's what I said. Who's Harry?
All right. Shout out to. I mean, look. So
Michael
team. It is one quarterback.
Appreciate you, brother. He's in the chat, by the way.
Appreciate you, my man. Thank you so much for the love, for the support.
Art 9.
You got to tell us a background on this team name, though. All right, one quarterback, start 9. So the way I'm thinking about that is obviously one quarterback. I would say a regular 2 running backs. I'm guessing 2 wide receivers, 1 tight end. That would be 1. That would be 6. 3 flex. Is that right?
1, 2.
That's what it looks like to me. By the way, do us a favor, guys. If you're watching this, hit that like button to show some love. We appreciate y'all big time.
Yeah. Let us know if that's right, Michael.
All right. So this is a pretty good team. Like, this is a very, like, your team is pretty much set to compete right now. You got Jalen Hurts as your quarterback 1. That's fantastic. You've got Jonathan Taylor, Josh Jacobs, David Montgomery, Joe Mixon. You're deep, and you just got potentially another option in Zeke. You got 4 guys that you can start at the running back spot. You got A.J. Brown, Olave, London, Metcalf, and McBride. I mean, right now, your starting lineup is Jalen Hurts. You're starting Jonathan Taylor, Josh Jacobs. At wide receiver, you start 3 wide receivers, A.J. Brown, Olave, London. And then at your 2 flex spots, you've got Metcalf and either Monty or Mixon. So that's a pretty solid lineup along with Trey McBride. That's a really solid lineup. Now, you don't have any firsts this year. That's unfortunate. But you have 2 seconds in what is a pretty good class. And at least you have your 25 and your 26 first. That's fantastic. We don't want to lose those firsts. We never know what will happen to our team. All it takes is a couple injuries for you to miss out on a Caleb Williams, for you to miss out on a Bijan Robinson, a Marvin Harrison Jr. But at the 205, what do your rankings say would be the BPA? And when I look at this team, there's no specific need. I think I might want to add a wide receiver, but that's really the only thing I'm thinking about. Wide receiver probably with both of those picks.
Yeah, looking at the 205, what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Is it 12-man or 10-man? 12.
This is 12, and this is one quarterback. Okay, so let me count that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That'll be Jermaine Burton. Burton for me. That's my 205 at the moment. So you're kind of in that range of the Polks, the Keon Coleman's, the Troy Frank. Well,
this is Franklin, like you mentioned, Burton.
Yeah, Franklin, Burton, Malachi Corley, Roman
Polk,
Wilson,
Corley,
Tapaveria,
Wilson, Mitchell.
These running backs would go significantly higher.
Baker, that's that kind of range. Yeah, those running backs, you're right, might go higher. But honestly, if I hit on 2 of those guys, I want to take a shot on them. Franklin, I just love because of the situation he's stepping into. The draft capital is awful, but get one of these 2 names and add to the depth of your wide receiver room, because after your top 4, it drops off pretty heavily.
I would agree there.
But this is definitely a team that is competing.
No question. I think you're kind of set right here.
By the way, I mean, when I think about quarterback in a 1 quarterback league, you really can't get better.
No.
Like, being 100% honest with you, Jalen Hurts, there's still a very good chance he's a top 3 points per game scorer this year. That is a difference maker in a 1 quarterback format. You can see in the last 2 years, he's either been the quarterback 1 or the quarterback 2 on a per game basis. You can't get better than that. I mean, in a lot of 1 quarterback leagues, we're like, okay, can we get these premier players at these onesie positions? You already got that. Trey McBride, a lot of people's tight end 2 in Dynasty rankings. Obviously, we know he had the breakout last year. Can't get much better than tight end 2.
No, not at all.
You've got names like A.J. Brown, Chris Olave, Drake London, DK Metcalf. You got Jonathan Taylor, Josh Jacobs, David Montgomery. I mean, you're pretty solid. He says, I've been to the championship both years.
Who's beating you here? So I'm assuming one of these top guys beating you. Team. The names are hilarious, by the way. Anthony Richardson, Bijan, Devon, Saquon, CeeDee, Waddle, Pittman, TJ Hawkinson.
I just realized that they were all themed.
Yeah,
I've never seen this sort of theme.
We need to do that. We need to do that in one of our fantasy leagues. Whichever league is down, Alpha Bravo, all the way up to Juliet.
But why is that the theme? What do you mean by
Lima,
that?
Sorry.
What do you guys mean by that?
I don't know, but it's so funny. I'm assuming you're losing to one of these guys, right? I mean, Bijan, Devon, Saquon, C.D. Waddle, Team 2, Joe Burrow. Maybe not Joe Burrow. I mean, who would have won last year? Like, these teams are injured, right? T.J. Hawkinson went down last year.
Yeah.
Jackson, I mean, how are these guys
Might have.
beating you?
I don't really know who won last year.
I mean, like, if you think about it, his team didn't do well. Like, I mean, Jonathan Taylor didn't have the best year last year. Drake London didn't break out.
That's okay,
last
Michael.
year.
It's all right to be weird.
Yeah. Chris Olave was in and out with injuries, and he was inconsistent. Like, you have inconsistencies here, but at the same time, it's really good. Like, our vision and expectation for these guys are amazing. You probably lost to this guy.
Joe Burrow's team won last year, he says.
Joe Burrow's team?
So you would have had Fields. Fields did win a lot of leagues last year. I won a couple leagues with Fields as a starter in a SuperFlex league. Remember Brees went so you would have got past Brees in round 1, who was a bad week.
Ramondre Stevenson.
And then the second week he went crazy. Amon-Ra would have
DJ
helped.
Moore went crazy. Mike Evans went crazy. Yeah. Josh Palmer, he didn't go crazy, but I think he put up a good flex number in that second half there. I think he was averaging like 9 points.
Yeah, but overall, looking at this team, there's not a lot of moves I would make, Badaki, because in this sort of format, like, I'm not trying to pivot down from Olave here. No, I want that Olave on my team in this one. I'm not pivoting down from London. No, I want these guys on my team, and it's not like I'm gonna attach a first on DK and try and get to a higher tier, because it's a start 9, so there's a respectable amount of flex spots anyway. Yeah, you can't sell Joe Mixon high or Monty high. Maybe Jacobs is the one you could wiggle around. I don't know.
I think for me, and I think we'll probably disagree on this, is DK Metcalf. I'm not trying to sell him. I'm trying to pivot off him. Can I go to a Tank Dell? Can I go to a George Pickens? Or can I go to a Jaden Reed? I don't know how you feel about that, but like I'm just throwing out conversations now. You know, would you pivot? I know you would probably rather have Rashee Rice over DK Metcalf. Would you rather have Rashee Rice?
No, I wouldn't.
Okay, so like that's probably the only one I'm thinking about pivoting. Not to add something, not to do anything. I'm just saying, okay, 1 for 1. Does this person rather have DK Metcalf? I would personally rather have Tank Dell. According to the community, DK Metcalf is ranked higher than Tank Dell at the moment. George Pickens is wide receiver 28. DK Metcalf wide receiver 23.
Yeah, I would
even pivot to Deebo Samuel. Deebo Samuel wide receiver 29 in the community versus DK Metcalf wide receiver 23. I'd rather have Deebo. I'll be honest.
Okay, I'd rather have DK over all those names. I think there's a big thing we're missing with DK, and that's the offensive coordinator change. Clearly, none of the wide receivers were happy with the offensive coordinator they had that just went to Chicago. His name is, someone help me in the chat.
Who are you talking about? The wide receiver?
No,
or
the offensive coordinator that just went to Chicago. Someone will tell me in the chat. Shane Waldron. Clearly, the wide receivers were not happy with Shane Waldron in Seattle. None of them spoke very highly of him. Yeah. Now this team is getting the guy who just made 3 wide receivers all round 1 or round like day 2 picks in Odunze, McMillan, and Polk. So I don't know. I think you're selling low on DK Metcalf here. I know. Okay. Last year I was the biggest sell high DK Metcalf you could find. He was ranked as like a top 15 dude. The year before, top 12, and I didn't think he was worth it. But I think his value has plateaued to the point where it should be. I think a team that's competing right now, you're taking a risk on Tank Dell. I don't know if Dell's going to be a better starter this year than Metcalf. I like Dell long term, but I don't know if he's going to be a better starter this year. George Pickens might be that alpha. That makes sense. But Reed, Deebo, I don't know. I think Deebo is a big downgrade. I just think I'm very curious to see what this offense is going to look like with the Washington Huskies, coach coming in and being the offensive coordinator there. That guy who successfully, effectively threw the ball all over the field to 3 really good wide receivers. Now they have 3 really good wide receivers. I think you're selling low on him, but of course, this is why we have 2 different perspectives. Because Badaki might do it, I might not.
I just think of DK, and I just feel like all those other guys are in that range for him when it comes down to points per game. And you could potentially get more based off of the community's rankings. Like if you look at DK Metcalf this past year, he was wide receiver 21, 14.1 fantasy points per game.
Sure.
Jaden Reed, um, significantly lower in the community, 13.6. It's not a huge difference. Debo Samuel, he may be older, 16.2 points per game. So like I'm just looking at the points per game and what the fantasy outcome is going to be looking like for some of these guys. And yeah, DK Metcalf opportunity is going to change because of Shane Waldron, and I like him. Like he did amazing for those guys. Um, but I'm just thinking of opportunity because I think we see more of the Jackson Smith and Jigba emerging here. Maybe DK Metcalf playing that Roman Dunze role, and maybe Jackson Smith and Jigba playing the Jalen McMillan role.
I think I like the
Um,
Pickens move, like specifically Pickens. I like, and
mhm,
like I said, I want these guys over DK long term. All I'm
yeah,
saying is this year, I'm trying to compete. I think I'm putting myself in too much of a risky situation to go out and bet that Reed is going to
yeah,
be that guy again if Watson's healthy.
yeah, and
Um,
that's something that like you know Michael here is going to have to make a decision. Like, if you want to stick with DK, that's fine. I'm happy for you to stick with DK, but I'm also happy to pivot to some of these other guys that
yeah.
I feel comfortable and I think are going to start growing with this offense. Are going to grow. Maybe not Debo Samuel specifically, but Tank, George, and Jaden Reed are three guys that I feel like are going to continue to grow with a young quarterback. Um, George not with a young quarterback, but you get what I'm saying. Some of those guys that I'm willing to pivot off of. George Pickens, I would say it will be the same thing. Like George Pickens is iffy because we haven't seen the breakout,
We
but he
have.
has a better we have a better
I mean,
situation.
I guess it depends on how you define breakout, but I
Sure.
I actually am more impressed with what George Pickens did last year than the average person. You think about how poor his quarterback play was the entire year. I don't know if there was a wide receiver at worse
Yeah,
quarterback play. I mean,
yeah,
maybe
for
Garrett
sure.
Wilson. I don't know, but the fact that he still goes out, puts up 1,100 yards, um,
Yeah, I
on
mean he
only
still produced.
106 targets, I thought that was impressive.
He still
But
produced well, top 30 wide receiver, 12.3 fantasy points per game. We definitely see the ceiling being higher here with Russell Wilson and or Justin Fields. Um,
like I
I just
said,
want
in
just all
most
depends.
leagues, I'm fine to pivot on all these names outside of Debo. But I just feel like I want to win right now. I think Metcalf is safer than all three of these names.
Yeah, that's fair.
Um,
And that's fair.
but Pickens would be the one I'd be fine with. I was going to talk about Josh Jacobs. I think if you can pivot to an ETN, a Saquon, even a Ken Walker now, as crazy as that sounds, I feel really comfortable doing that. I also would be super open to like getting off of Jacobs now and getting younger. Like now is probably the smart time to move off of Josh Jacobs. He just got the contract. Looks like he's set to go. They did draft Lloyd. We don't know what that's going to look like. But to move to a Benson or a Brooks plus something would be my ideal scenario. Like, can I move to a Benson and Brooks and get a second round pick in this draft again? You know, I would be willing to do that. Can I? And there is some concern there, obviously, but let's say a different scenario here. Can I move to a Benson and Brooks and get a Kamara? Can I move to a Benson and Brooks and get a Mostert on top of it? Like
Sure.
those are the type of deals I'm really interested in, where I stay competitive. But yeah, I would
Yeah,
also
I
even move
would
to like,
move
sorry, I would also even move to like Henry for a second as well.
with a 205 for Henry.
No,
Would
sorry,
you
I
do
just mean
that?
Jacobs for Henry in a
Ah,
second.
okay. I thought you meant like you're gonna send that pick. I was like, I'd rather keep that.
Actually, in this league, that probably doesn't make sense for his format.
Yeah, I think what the running backs he has are pretty good. But yes, I'm happy to pivot, like you mentioned, when it comes down to ET and Saquon, and just to kind of build off that when he talks about Jacobs, essentially the team has a 1 year deal. We've seen Jacobs, deal with injuries. They just drafted Marshawn Lloyd in the second round. One of the things once I first saw that contract was like it makes me believe that the Packers are okay to have an out on Josh Jacobs where he probably can't stay healthy. It was probably a contingency in his contract, or like they say, hey, look, we're gonna give you this contract, but we're gonna have a year this out after this year because if you don't stay healthy, we're happy to move on. Um, so it's interesting. It's an interesting thought process when it comes down to Josh Jacobs and what that's gonna look like here. So yeah, just to be
Yeah.
safer, going
Yeah.
ETN Saquon Walker.
Yeah, and I also really love the idea of going to Benson Brooks here and kind of getting off of that earlier than anticipated for something else in return. You can't just do it straight up, but if you can get something else in return, I love that idea. But I really don't think there's any other move we can talk you through. I mean, you're doing the right things. Go out and compete.
Yeah.
You know? And the only way I'm sitting those 25 or those 26 firsts away is if we're like, okay, it's 3 weeks away from the playoffs. It's me versus this dude. And I know I can add a Bijan Robinson right now with this first plus this player. I'm going to go do that and win the chip, you know? But right now, you don't need to move those. I think you're in a fantastic spot. You put yourself in a fantastic spot.
I agree. I think this is good. Continue to grind out. Let us know if you have any other questions here, Michael.
I like that trade too. He said he offered DK in the 205 for the 104, or for the 104 and the 205.
Yeah, and then to lock up.
But
then,
then,
one
then you're getting Brian Thomas and something, right?
Or
so
Lad.
we're okay with that.
Yeah. I'm on. Yeah, or Lad. Yeah, I'm definitely okay with that as well.
Yeah.
So,
I am going to send this to your hotline, but please let us know if there's anything we didn't cover. I mean, your team is pretty straightforward, though. I mean, you put yourself in a great direction. There's no reason to blow this up at all.
No, I think it's a great team. Great wide receivers, or great quarterback, decent running backs, great wide receivers.
Yeah,
so
you've done a great job. So we'll send this over to your DM, but we appreciate you, man. Thank you for the love. Hey, if you have any last-minute questions, let us know. This is your time to shine. And while we're waiting to hear from him, we'll just let the chat know if you want your team reviewed. It's very simple. All you got to do is become a Mother Flocker member with the promo code LAND. I'll put a direct link in the chat for you there. This is the Flock Fantasy website. All you got to do is sign up with our code LAND and be a Mother Flocker member. I would suggest clicking instant access. Otherwise, you got to wait for your trial to end for your team to be eligible. Completely up to you if that's the way you want to go about it. But once you sign up, go to the top right, link and hit account, link your Discord. Once your Discord is linked, you'll see the roster submissions tab under the Fantasyland banner, if you will. All right, next team we're looking at is Cavalier.
Actually, if you want to start, I just need to use restroom because I don't know if I'll make it.
Just know if you're gonna make it. That sounds like an emergency. All right, let's get your team in here. Is Cavalier with us? Are you in the chat, brother man? Long-time supporter. I believe this is your second year with the team reviews that we've done. But all right, Cavalier. He says team is Wolverines. It's a 12-team SuperFlex start 9. All right, so we got the lineup here. Pretty simple lineup. That's cool. Put that there in case we need to reference it. 12 bench, 6 taxis with players eligible to stay for 3 years. Okay. No tight end premium. Committed the cardinal sin of trading away my 24 first last year, thinking I was going to be better. Narrator, he wasn't. And then sent what turned into the 105 for Swift early this year. Oh, jeez. That's rough. He says, thinking it was my least valuable first before Fields got injured in week 6, and the owner had a fire sale. On the flip side, I drafted Levis with the 204 and flipped him for 2 firsts. Well done. Right after his explosive debut. Great job. Great job taking advantage of that. He says, my biggest issue now is consolidation and clearing roster cloggers, but not giving up on young guys too early. Roster is already 2 over the limit for 9 picks in the draft. Only 4 open spots on the taxi squad. Okay. Understood. I feel like there are pretty clear bottom 5 or 6, but I felt that way about Kyron last year, and look how that turned out. Sure. He says, I've gotten offers for Love and Andrews, but people trying to do the same thing I am by giving me a bunch of lesser pieces for one bigger piece. Yeah, we don't want to do that. I also have a trade where I get Judy in a second for the 205 and a 4th. I'll see what Badaki thinks about that. I am not doing that at all. The 205 I think is way more valuable than Judy in a second this year, as crazy as that sounds. But maybe I'm too low on Judy. He says, I suspect I'm going to have to overpay according to Keep Trade Cut to get anything moved before our rookie draft in August. But last year, trading was fast and furious during our untimed draft. My gut is to package a bunch of stuff to try and move up in the draft or to snag some young second or third year players. Worst case scenario, just stick and pick and drop the worst 7 come opening night. A couple teams aren't big on trading. Okay. While others will trade just for the vibes. All right, those are our guys. Those are our guys there. Everyone else is open. Okay. Went back and rewatched your review of this team from last year, and I should have paid better attention. Would have had Stroud and Addison on the roster, so I'm taking better notes this year. Sheesh. That's cool to know. We suggested Addison and Stroud. So this was last year's stream. Yeah, a year ago, March 27th, 2023. That's cool to see. So last year we advised to grab Stroud and Addison. Maybe you went JSN potentially, but that is okay. All right, let's have a look. And Badaki, I see you back. Just read through the context, and I'll have a look at his team while we go here.
Okay.
Your team name you mentioned is Wolverine. So you are ranked 3rd, and you're up there in the 90s. It is a pretty top-heavy league. Some of these bottom teams are not doing the best. But like we said, SuperFlex start 9, no Titan Premium. So we've got Love, Prescott. That's a great one, too. And I wouldn't really move off either of those guys on your team, honestly. Neither of them are a good tier down. I actually would like to tier down to a Love, to a Prescott in a lot of leagues. At running back, you got Bijan, Swift, Charbonnet, Kendra, Tyler. So very top heavy there. Hopefully Swift can be consistent this year. We'll see. At wide receiver, no stars, but good players. That's really the weakness of your team. That really is the weakness of your team there. We'll look at that. And you also got Mark and Jake. So, squad is solid. You don't have a star receiver, but you do have some picks in this class that could potentially help. You got 225 firsts next year. One from I'm Telling Your Mama. And I'm Telling Your Mama might have an up and down year. So that's great. That's great that you have that pick. But let's go to the whiteboard here and let's have a look at what we can do with these picks, how we can improve the team.
Okay. Wow.
I mean, let's be honest here. Those 5th round picks, I say this every year. I still feel the same, even in this stacked class. They don't mean anything to me. I would be willing to move them for 4th round picks next year. I would package them for a 3rd. Like, that's the first thing. When you talk about how you have roster restrictions, not a lot of flexibility, let's move those picks for anything. I'll move both of them for a 3rd. I'll move both of them for what I project to be an early 4th next year. These guys are working at Subway. There's nothing wrong with working at Subway, but it's not going to bring fantasy points, isn't it? I mean, it's going to bring you a nice meatball sub.
Nice meatball subs and nice cookies.
Nice little $5 foot long down your throat. But it's not going to bring you a fantasy championship, will it?
Freaking guy.
But we got some good draft picks to work with. At the 108, you really are in range for running back in a SuperFlex. Or, sorry, wide receiver in a SuperFlex league. You know, you're looking at the names like a Knicks here, but also that range of wide receiver, Brian Thomas Jr. You're in range for a Ladd, Worthy. You're in a great spot there. And the 111 is pretty much the same exact thing.
Yeah, pick and choose there. Some of your guys. Brian Thomas, Tom McConkey. There. No Xavier Worthy.
Sorry. Yes, I agree. At the 204, in an ideal world, you get one of these running backs, Brooks Benson, but I don't think they're going to last that long, Badaki.
I don't think so either.
Would you be willing to then prioritize one of them at the 111 instead? In this format, if you can't trade back. But also, you need wide receiver, dude. Nah, I can't do that with this league.
Yeah.
My bad.
I mean, there's no emphasis on running back here. Is there?
We need wide receiver.
Yeah, there's no emphasis on running back here. So getting the wide receiver, knowing that you have up to, 5, or technically, 4 wide receivers you can start in this process with the wide receivers that you do have. I'm prioritizing. I'd rather get Brian Thomas, Lab McConkey, or Xavier Worthy here rather than these running backs.
Yeah, I agree. At the 204, you're looking at names like Ricky
204,
Pearsall.
yeah. Ricky Leggett. I guess it just depends on how you league values him. Keon Coleman. We can even throw Michael Penix Jr. out there.
Yeah, I like
area.
Penix as a pick for this team, by the way. If you know Penix is going to be at the 204, I would wait on Knicks and just prioritize wide receiver with those first 2 picks and then get a Penix at the 204.
Yeah. I'm happy with that.
says, what happened to draft for value for trade for need? I mean, that's what we're doing, though. We just we had the conversation and we said, no, let's make sure we go wide receiver there. I mean, that's what we're doing, no? 205 is the same thing, though, there, by the way.
Yeah. 205 is the exact same thing. And then 304, once again.
The 212.
Sorry, 212. 212, Blake Corum, Troy Franklin, Malachi Corley, Roman Wilson. Jalen Wright went at the 213, quote unquote, in our league because that was comp pick.
Might be a good idea at the 304 there if he's there.
Yeah, that can be a good,
Lloyd
good
might
pick
not
as well.
fall, but it depends on each league. I mean, is Senate in play here? Is this a premium at all?
No.
No.
I don't think it's premium. I think some people are going to be taking Senate over some of these wide receivers like Corley.
Yeah.
And Wilson just based on that draft capital. Wasn't he a second round pick? No.
Mm-hmm.
So
Estime, Irving, like I actually, the more I think this through, we absolutely do not force running back at the 111. We let a Wright, a Lloyd, a Lloyd, an Estime, and Irving fall to us in round 3. A Davis there, you know, and we focus on wide receiver with with definitely the 111, the 204 could be a running back if Brooks or Benson are there, but they're probably not.
Yeah, I'm just looking through some of these running backs. I'm trying to see maybe who we can get on the low here. Like, depending on what these values are, maybe I'll use my 304. Like, do I get a... Kind of get at the 304? It's really hard to gauge some of these values now on these running backs because of how good the second round is.
Why don't we see? I mean, let's see what the general consensus is. Like, I doubt an Alvin's in play here, but is he? No, he doesn't play. So, like, maybe a Moss is more realistic.
Yeah, Moss says is more valuable than the 304.
See, I just don't believe that people devalue the third this much.
Yeah,
I don't think
so
the 304
either.
is that much less valuable than Moss. I don't think this is accurate.
I completely agree. Like, 304 is some really good value. I mean, once again, these are the guys that went in the top 5 picks in the third round. And our real rookie drafts. Malachi Corley, Roman Wilson, Javon Baker, Jermaine Burton, and Jaleel McLaughlin. Or Jalen McMillan, sorry. Those are the top 5 picks in our rookie drafts. That's pretty valuable. These are guys that are going to step into some opportunity here.
Yeah,
it's hard to
Corley,
gauge
Wilson,
right now.
Baker, Burton, McMillan, like you said. Ben Sinnett, a second-round pick.
That's hard to gauge right now with
by the way,
these third rounds.
Jalen Wright was technically the 301 here.
Yeah, he technically was. So, like, yeah, this is interesting. I understand maybe trying to get another running back for this team.
Yeah, well, if there's not a market out there, hold the pick, because if that, I really don't personally think the consensus is what Keep Trade Cut shows right now, but I could be wrong.
Well, I mean,
let's talk about those names. Like, I think Moss is in play, Singletary. Because surely people in leagues are thinking like us, the 2025 class is stacked. I mean, that's the first thing I said when the Cowboys didn't draft the running back this year. I said they know next year's class is a class to get a running back. Moss, Singletary, what are some other names? Like, Kamara's probably out of play, but how about like a Ford? Mostert?
Yeah, Ford. How do you feel about... Go pick up Zeke off your waiver wires.
He's probably rostered, though. 12-man league, SuperFlex.
Yeah, he is. Team 9 has him.
Yeah, but ultimately, if I knew a Jalen Wright was going to fall to the 304, I wouldn't even trade it away for one of these names. I would rather have Wright or a Lloyd.
I agree. Yeah,
So,
these third round picks are I wouldn't want to trade them for any of these running backs here.
but let's play out this world that we are living in here, because I think our best case scenario is like a Brian, let's say Ladd. We get Penix with one of these picks, and we also get, let's say Pearsall. That feels more realistic than one of those running backs. Let's say we also get Franklin. Let's play out those first 2 rounds. Let's say that is the draft that you ended up with. Well, that's great because you desperately need help at wide receiver. You got Reed Rice. Now, instead of Rice being your number 2, he's your 4, probably, or he could be your 1 at some point if Rice can be the player that he was last year and just keep building off of it. But anyway, you know what I'm saying. Brian's there, Ladd's there, Reed, Rice, and a start 4 that feels much better than relying on just those 2 names. You add Penix as your quarterback 3. And also, by the way, you have Ricky Pearsall. That feels fantastic. And you're rocking with Bijan and Swift. Hopefully Kendrick can break out.
Yeah.
And then maybe in the 3rd round, you get a Wright, a Lloyd. Maybe late, you get a Estime, a Davis. That feels like best case scenario to me.
Yeah, that does feel like best case scenario. I think this is the best way. I don't think you should be moving this because I'm just thinking of, I like the quarterbacks, Jordan Love, Dak Prescott.
The only player that you could really pivot down from is Bijan. I don't know that I want to do that, but then again, we've heard people say he's worth the 101 to the 103. So let's just put that out there into the world. If you really can get a top 3 pick for Bijan, I'm doing that.
I would definitely do that 1,000%.
But you don't need to force it. But if that is really a possibility, you can. But he's really the only tier down. Like, you can't tier down from these quarterbacks. I want to tier down from other quarterbacks to them. You can't tier down from Swift or Reed or Rice or Watson. Mark Andrews should be more respected in the community, but because of that injury, people are forgetting who he is. It's not really a tier down here.
No. Not at all.
If you were to tier down from Bijan to Bijan, what are some realistic tier downs? Let's look at the trade finder here. I want to see some realistic tier downs in a SuperFlex league. Let's say full PPR. Let's say 12-man league. I want to see Bijan and a tier down to a, I don't know, like a tier down to a Taylor maybe. That would be interesting to see.
Yeah.
8 days ago, someone got Jonathan Taylor in a 1st-round pick. Where is that 1st-round pick? That's interesting.
Yeah, they traded away Bijan and AJ Brown.
That's got to be one of those top 5 picks if that happened.
Yeah.
Some of those deals are interesting to me, though. I mean, this is probably not enough, but how about this structure? JT in like a late 1st. Would you do JT in like the 109 or something?
Yeah, 109 it feels nice. Well, let's find out who has JT. Let's see. Jonathan Taylor has 106. He has 112 actually. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong team.
And by the way, you could then spend that 109 on a running back that you love, right? I mean, we know like the 109 right now, that's in range for like those ETNs, those Saquons for sure, with how stacked this class is, you know?
Yep.
So that is an option you can consider. You don't have to do any of those, but I think you're forcing a trade down almost. I think I'd keep Bijan with this team.
I think so as well. I think I'll keep it with this team. I don't think the RB2 is terrible. I mean, I kind of believe in Swift. I hope he gets an opportunity. I think he will get an opportunity. Get those jump down passes there like we kind of saw with Marshawn Lloyd, USC there. Yeah. So,
yeah,
I think that's kind of the role that he's going to be playing.
We wouldn't tear down from Bijan here. There is no clear tier down, but that's what we would do with your picks. I mean, as crazy as it sounds, like if you have a late 1st, you really don't want to trade it for a vet right now because it's so enticing, you know. Yeah. But what are some names around the 108 right now at the wide receiver spot that you could get? I wonder. the price surely went up. Like, I bet you
I
Tank
think
Dell
it
isn't even worth that right now. No, he's not.
I mean, according to the community on Keep Trade Cut, the
Like,
108
could you wiggle your way into a Pittman? Would you do that? I think I would.
for the 108.
Yeah, I mean, that's either Knicks or Brian Thomas.
Yeah, true.
Would you not rather just have the solidified dude?
The solidified guy, yeah. I definitely would. I'm just always thinking about that quarterback play.
Yeah, that's fair. It might not be the best buy right now. You're passing on what could be. Yeah, it's tough.
Question. It is tough.
A lot of people are going to want to hold their 108.
Yeah, a lot of people want to. I mean, unless you go for like a...
I would also be willing to package that 108 with like your 212 or something, or 205 to go out and get a star.
How many starts he has in this league again?
Start 9.
Before wide receivers, 1, 2, 3, 4. I think having the depth here might be more important than him trading that away.
I think the opposite.
You think so?
I think the opposite. Start 9, I want a star. Like, can I get a... I would do London for this. 205 might be too rich. This class is so good, but 212? All right, 108 and 212. Give me London.
Okay. Okay. I hear you out. I hear you out. I'm listening.
What are the other names? I mean, you could even go for a vet. Like, you could probably get a Tyreek for this. If you really want to go out and compete right now. Not that you have to. Which you really don't have to, like I said, but I'm pretty sure Tyreek would be right in that range. Yeah, they have him actually cheaper than London on Keep Trade Cut. You can go Olave. I would even use this to trade up. This is a SuperFlex league, right?
Yeah, it is SuperFlex.
Like, if I can package the 108 and the 205 and I can somehow get in like top 4 for like a neighbors, I would do.
Yeah, I would do that.
So those are some of the ideas, but there's not many tear downs here.
Yeah, not that many tear downs. I get what you're saying though with that tier. I'm keeping it. I think there's a decent team, especially with the capital that you have.
Yeah.
At the running back position, I'm not trying to force anything. It's just the wide receivers that I think you solidify that room, and I think you can definitely take this team to the next level. We saw Dak Prescott, Jordan Love have great years this past year. But let us know. I don't think he's in the chat with us, unless I missed out on him.
No, I don't think he was here with us, but he'll watch later for sure.
And he definitely watch later. You definitely use your fantasy hotline after you watch this.
Yeah.
Let us know any questions that you do have, but we appreciate you and your support.
Yeah, we appreciate you big time, man. Thank you for, I mean, you've been a long time supporter, and we appreciate you. If anyone out there is watching and you guys want us to review your Dynasty team on a live stream, it's a very simple process. All you got to do is become a Mother Flocker member with the promo code LAND. I just put a direct link in the chat for you. This is what our website looks like. Again, when you sign up, use the code LAND, become a Mother Flocker member. I would suggest to click instant access when you sign up so you don't have to wait for that trial to end. But if you want that trial, that is totally up to you. Go to account when you sign up, link your Discord, and then you'll be able to see all of our premium Discord channels, including the roster submissions tab, where you can see everyone submitting their teams. Wody is just on a trial. Otherwise, we'd get to him today. I think the next team
one is Kyle Murphy.
Is Kyle.
Oh, Kyle Murph.
Kyle is the next team here, yeah.
And I'll start breaking that down. 12 team Superflex 1 point, no tight end premium. Start 10. Looks like you can start up to 5 wide receivers in this starting lineup. He shows his picks here, which we'll get to. He says, context, this is the 3rd year of this league, and I'm in the middle of a rebuild. I have a major need at every position with solid draft capital. I want your guys' opinion on how I should operate this draft. I'm not sure who I'm going at the 101, but the guy who has it is... I'm not sure who the guy is going at the 101, but the guy who has it is leaning Marvin because his quarterbacks are Stroud and A-Rich. I was wondering if I can walk through... If we can walk through 2 different scenarios with Marvin going at the 101 and Caleb going at the 101. Also wanted your advice on some possible trades that I can do with my picks, as I'm open to doing anything to get maximum value and improving my team as it needs a lot of work. I just traded Kyron Williams for the 107, which is phenomenal. give me more flexibility.
Congratulations, man. Great trade.
We've been trying to tell you a lot of people to do that, especially now with Blake Corum with that second round draft capital. Keep that in mind. And I thought it would be smart to sell him as the highest value. I know the guys who have the 101 and the 103 are interested in trading back possibly. And I'm kind of interested in that since I'm really high on the top 3 wide receivers and quarterbacks in the class and could really use a wide receiver and QB2 on my team. And I'm not 100% sure Neighbors or Ndunze will be there at 6. I would definitely be interested in trading back to if the board doesn't come to me the way I want it at the 6 and 7. Let me know what you guys think. I'm open to any suggestions. Love the channel. Appreciate your work. We appreciate you, Kyle. First off, that trade is phenomenal for that Kyrie Williams. We've been telling a lot of people to sell him. Now you get a 107, which is a top. I mean, that's Rome Odunze. Every single day, if you would have told anyone, even before them taking Blake Corum, Kyrie Williams with the 107, who is now Rome Odunze, everyone is taking that 100% every single day. So that is a phenomenal trade. Great job there. All right.
Yeah. Team name, Team ACO.
Team ACO here. Love that. Looks like Team 4.
And can we get a refresher on the it's start 10 Superflex? Is it no tight end premium?
Yeah, no tight end premium, start 10.
Okay.
He put the context up there, 1 quarterback.
3 starting wide receivers, 2 flex. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, 100% here. Team ACL, Team 4 here. Jalen Hurts, Bryce Young, Aiden O'Connell. I like this quarterback room. You have the 102, which you can definitely look into. So we'll definitely talk about that. Jalen Warren, Kendra Miller, Chase Brown downtown, and the list kind of goes on there. We like these top 3 guys. You have the 202, which you could potentially get a running back there. Once again, you're in the middle of a rebuild. And wide receivers, 5 wide receivers, we said. Christian Kirk, Jahan Dotson, Wanda Robinson, and the list kind of goes on. You have no starting receivers, it feels like, outside of Christian Kirk. I would say the top 3 could potentially be starting wide receivers, but the only one we can start here with confidence in a flex position is Christian Kirk, right? The wide receivers are rough, and then Dawson Kincaid. So look, wide receivers are tough, but we have the draft capital to potentially hit on some of these guys, especially with those second round picks, because second and third round picks, let's be completely honest with you, because the depth here on this class is phenomenal.
Okay, so at least you got Jalen Hurts. At least you got Dalton Kincaid. I can imagine myself already playing out scenarios where we tear down from Jalen Hurts for this team specifically in this team's direction. But let's start with the draft capital because you got a good amount of it. He wanted us to play out 2 scenarios where
one with Marvin and one with Caleb.
Yeah, let's play out the Caleb Williams one first, and then we'll play out the Marvin one. So you get Caleb Williams here. Can I tell you what? That is totally fine. I love this scenario. I think because your team has so many needs, my friend, any way this goes, we're chilling. And I don't think we need to trade up. With this team, in this state, with that wide receiver room, that running back room, a trade up, in my opinion, is out of the question. I want to try and hit on as many values as I possibly can. I'm maybe open to a trade back, but Caleb Williams falls there. Then at the 106, we're getting McCarthy or May. At the 107, we're getting Rome Odunze. He fits our team perfectly like a glove. At the 109, that's probably Brian Thomas Jr., Ladd, Worthy.
How you view that?
At the 202, Benson, Brooks are in range, but also you got names like
you can get Ricky, you can get Xavier, Michael Penix if you wanted to. Depending on how high you wanted to reach there, or whoever you believe in. I know a lot of people like Keon Coleman.
Yeah.
A lot of people like Adonai Mitchell. We wouldn't do that, but hey, those are some names there that could potentially fall to you. The 209, and I'm going to go based off of our rookie mock because I think that's one of the most accurate things we have at the moment. Obviously, every league is different. At the 209, we had Jalen Polk, Troy Franklin, Adonai Mitchell. Go there. So, I mean, those are some good opportunities there for you at the 209.
But would you take Mitchell there, or would you rather have a Burton? Would you rather have a...
I would rather have a Polk, obviously. I'd rather have a Troy Franklin or Adonai Mitchell.
What about like a Corum?
Yeah, Corum is a good play there.
So I just want to make sure we also say what we would do, like given both range 100%. Of outcomes, I guess.
302.
Same
once
thing,
again,
pretty much.
Yeah, in our recent one, Malachi Corley, Roman Wilson, Javon Baker, Jalen Wright is also a good one here.
Yep.
At the 302 and the 308, I think kind of just falls off there. I
Yeah,
would
we don't
say.
know. It's too far down the board. In our
Yeah.
draft, the 308 was,
Brendan Rice.
sheesh, that's early. But
So I mean,
yeah,
yeah.
there
that
really is a significant fall off after the middle of the second
Middle of
round,
third.
isn't there?
I mean, I would say middle of the third. I don't think it's a fall off.
Sorry, that's what I meant. Middle of the third.
Yeah, middle of the third. Yeah.
I think from the 306 onwards, there's a pretty significant fall off in this year's draft. But that's if you get Caleb Williams, and that's honestly so fine. To be honest with you, dude, I am not forcing anything at all with your team. We need so much help.
Yeah.
So if Marvin goes here, it doesn't change anything.
Same thing. JJ McCarthy. 100%. That's all you're changing.
It doesn't
only
change
difference-
a thing for me.
The only difference here is that you're getting an extra wide receiver compared to an extra quarterback if the picks are flipped. So with Marvin, you get, 1, 2, 3 wide receivers in the first round instead of 2 wide receivers in the first round. If you get what I'm saying, because if you picking Caleb, you get Rome and Brian Thomas Lather-Worthy, and then with Marvin Harrison, you get Marvin Harrison, Rome, Brian Thomas Lather-Worthy. So
let's play out this world for a second. All right, let's say you get this haul of Caleb, May, Adunze, Brian, Brooks, Franklin, Corum. Well, if that is the haul that you get, your team's going to have Caleb Williams, Jalen Hurts. Great 1-2. Bryce Young is your 3. Fantastic. We can even look at pivoting down from Hurts with this specific team. Oh, also you have Drake May. So you're chilling.
By the way.
You get Rome Odunze at wide receiver. You also had Brian Thomas, Troy Franklin. Those guys pair along with Christian Kirk, Jahan Dotson, and we'll see what happens with those players if they break out or not. At running back, you add Blake Corum. And honestly, at the 308, I probably will go like another running back, like a Estime, Davis, Bucky, get as many bodies in that backfield as you can. And hopefully you get the next Tony Pollard. Hopefully you get, the next Jaylen Warren. Guy that is a valuable piece that you might move, you might build around, Yep. So I don't think it really changes my strategy regardless of what the pick is. And in a way, you almost kind of don't mind if Marvin falls to you. But if Caleb falls to you, you're getting the most value. Because Caleb will, in my opinion. What do you think, Padaki? I've been thinking about this from now until September, before the NFL draft, before the NFL season starts. I believe Caleb Williams will be the most valuable player in this class. We don't know what will happen when these players play, but I think a controllable asset now to the NFL season, Caleb Williams will hold the most value.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely conversations for a lot of these guys to be in that. I think Marvin Harrison Jr. feels really comfortable. I mean, he's a top 5. Wide receiver in Dynasty already, if I'm not mistaken, when in the community. And Caleb Williams is not.
Sure.
So I think it just depends on how you view these players.
Caleb Williams is also being drafted higher in a startup, so we have to think about it in that light, I think.
Yeah, well, some people will take Marvin Harrison over Caleb. Some people, I don't know. Like maybe he'll go around the Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase range, CeeDee Lamb. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if we see him going like the 4 wide receivers going in a run, however way. Anyways, well, I think either way, however way you want to picture this, I think this is phenomenal draft capital.
You can't go wrong
for you, and you cannot go wrong here.
So
I don't think pivoting at all. Like now that we know these landing spots,
I'm very open to pivoting off of Jalen. Because he is the one piece on this team that I think you get an actual haul for. And by the way, even if half of these players hit, you're still in the middle of a rebuild trying to get there. This isn't going to fix everything. It will help a lot. So the first thing I was going to talk about, it's the only thing that really stood out to me, is can we pivot down from Jalen Hurts? Like the names that are going to come to mind in a pivot down for me would be a pretty big list. What does a community rank these players? So
I guess
like,
it just depends on how far or what the community is willing to pay here. But yes,
yeah.
I'm happy
So
to pivot.
yeah. So the names that come to mind for me are your Herberts, your A-Rich, your Love, your Kylers, even Daniels. So I'm going to start writing these out. A-Rich, Love, Kyler, Daniels. And each of these are going to give you more in return than the others. That's probably where I would stop.
Yeah.
I put Love and Kyler in there, right?
Yep.
And Herbert is also one of those names.
Yep,
So
he said Herbert.
I'd like to look at the teams who have those players. We'll start with A-Rich.
Anthony Richardson, that is team. I think it was team one. Team one. CJ Stroud, Anthony Richardson.
Team 1, okay. So, in this world, he has a 101. He's probably not tearing down, honestly, or tearing up, because he's about to get Marvin or Caleb. We talked about that. Might not be a good one. Let's move on from A-Rich. How about Love? Who has Love?
Jordan Love is team 8.
Okay. So Team 8 has Jordan Love.
He has a 104, so he needs another quarterback. Technically, I'm assuming he's going to take a quarterback with that 104. He has Matthew Stafford, Jacoby Brissett, Mac Jones.
Yeah. So I think a combination of Love, Flowers, and that player's future first is interesting to me. Like, not all of that, but I don't know exactly what the deal is. I mean, is that too much for Jalen Hurts? I think in a lot of leagues you'd actually get that done. But I wonder how far we are off here.
I think it feels like a lot. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, let me play it out in my head then. Give me a sec. Okay, let's be honest. I don't know a single player in SuperFlex League that is selling Jordan Love or that is selling Jalen Hurts for Love and Flowers. That's not happening. But if we want to get that first, can we offer him our 2025 second as a starting point? Let's see what he says to that. Maybe he says no. Maybe he's not interested. That's okay. Even the 202, I'd be willing to send in this trade. That would definitely be something I'd be willing to do, willing to explore. Send the offer out, see if there's a counter. Again, the goal here isn't to tell you that all these trades are going to happen. It's to give you ideas and to give you like kind of spark inspiration on what could be. Kyle says the guy's an Eagles fan, so he definitely might accept.
Well, there you go.
Well, if he's an Eagles fan, then let's start a little bit lower. And just give him that 25 first and see if he says yes. Or 25 second, excuse me. But honestly, we don't really want to give him our 25 second. You have a second from another team, which is Spallone. Where's Spallone?
Spallone, team 10.
Team 10. What's their team looking like?
Tua, Daniel Jones. They have the 108. So they're definitely enough.
We want to keep that. So let's send the 209 instead here. Let's send the 209 and see what he says. Who has Kyler Murray? This deal would have been easier to do before the draft. After he got Marvin, it'll be harder.
All these deals were a lot easier to do before the draft. Now that we have landing spots, it makes things a lot more difficult. I think a lot of people are limited in trading, even though we saw a couple of trades in our Alpha League yesterday. But
Kyler, the 110 would be a good starting point around a deal. I don't know what the rest of it is, but maybe you can snag an Addison and you add the 202 or something. I don't know. Like that's another idea that you can look at. I don't know how realistic it is. Again, open the door. See who's behind it. See if anyone's interested. The other names we said is Daniels. So that means getting the 103 pretty much. I think this is where you could extract the most value. I think Daniels, similar to Anthony Richardson. Guys, Anthony Richardson played 2 healthy games last year. and he's like the first pick in the second round of a startup draft.
This is what I'm saying. I mean,
Do you know how wrong it has to go for Daniels to tank his value in 1 year? So the 103, who has the 103?
103 is Team 11.
Okay, Team 11. That sounds good. So give me the 103. I want your future first as well. And Brandon Ayuk?
Sure. Yeah, let's do that. I don't mind that trade.
I'll also give you the 202 here to try and even things out a little bit.
That's you getting another wide receiver in this room, which is great.
And you're adding a first to a team that's probably not going to be that good. Right? They'll be decent, but I mean, you might even start that trade by sending the 209 and seeing if there's any interest at all. Again, some of these deals are not going to go through, guys. It's all about opening the door. How about Herbie? Last one here.
Justin Herbert, and that is Team... If I can find him. Team 11.
Oh, he also has Herbert?
Yeah, he has Herbert and the 103.
So, I mean, I would do Herbert and Ayuk in a heartbeat. What about you?
Yeah, 100%.
That would be easy. So there you go. There's a couple options. A lot of teams should not move Jalen Hurts. Those teams are ready to compete either now or in a year. You might be.
That's what I was going to say here.
But I don't think you're competing this year.
I don't think he's competing this year. But like with trading away Jalen Hurts, if all these, I mean, look,
and none of these deals,
of
these deals, you're trading away Hurts and not getting a quarterback in return.
Yeah, definitely. I get you, Kyle. Just thinking of how many wide receivers? 5 wide receivers. Yeah, even if he were to get it, he's still a little bit short. So I agree. I would agree there. Makes sense.
Bryce Young's on a sell. There is no sell. I sold Kirk before the draft for the 204. I don't think you could do that anymore.
No. I don't think so either.
And who knows, Kirk might be more valuable, but I don't think you can do that right now. There is no sell outside of Hurts on this team.
No. No one. It just Hurts.
Can I just throw out another hypothetical here?
Okay.
In case it's possible in your leagues. If you want to move back from the 109... I was going to say 107, but Roma Doomsday fits this team perfectly. We're not going to do the 107. But at the 109, if I can pivot...
Have Kirk?
Sorry?
Because he has Kirk?
Oh, no, I'm not going Penix here. All I'm saying is if I can go back to... Sorry?
Continue. No, I'm saying, are you saying this because he has Christian Kirk and he would have Brian Thomas at the 109? Is that
no.
Okay.
All I'm saying is I'm just trying to extract as much value out of this pick. So like the 112 to the 201 range, I'd even say the 111. If I can somehow get that person's future first, any future first, in that deal, that's a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer.
And even if you needed to add like the 209 to get it done or something, let's say you go from the 109 and you get the 112 and that person's first, you send the 109 and the 209. We're doing that with this team in a heartbeat, not even thinking about it. I don't even care if it's the best team in the league. I don't care. I'll take that. So I can't think of any other deal here.
I can't think of anything else here. I'd rather keep Christian Kirk, Jahan Dotson, Wandale, Dalton Kincaid. I'm not moving on or off of whatsoever. So you're here to stay, brother.
What is Kirk's value right now?
I don't think he's more than. I mean, I'm not setting a early second for Kirk, so definitely mid to late.
Well, if Keep Trade Cut is right, you can get the 204, which is what I got. So if that is possible, I think you and I would both very happily.
Thank you for the 204.
Take the 203 to the 206.
And 204 can be what's crazy, a first round wide receiver. Ricky Pearsall, Xavier Legette, Keon Coleman was obviously the 33rd overall pick. A first round quarterback in Michael Penix,
UT, we say it all the time, man. I feel like we drill it in every stream. But again, the point of these trades that we give you guys is not to tell you they're all possible. But guess what? If you're not opening up any doors, you're not getting any trades done. 99% of the offers that you send will not be accepted straight away.
What doors are you opening?
But if you're not opening a single door, then you're not getting a single trade done. Start a conversation. See what happens. So many times I'm like, this person's not going to be interested in it. You know what? Let's send it anyway. And 3 counters later, I got a deal done. So our goal is to help as many people open as many doors as possible. Yeah, that's why we added the 2nd round pick there. But again, okay, so what's the worst? You send the offer. The guy's like, no. Okay, no worries, man. I'll stick and pick. Anyway, Kyle, I want to know if you have any other questions for us here, my man. If there's any other questions, things that we did not cover, let us know. I mean, who knows if that player at the 109 is obsessed with Bowers, obsessed with Brian. I mean, I just think it's funny. We see this every year. But like we saw it with Sky Moore a couple years ago, Chiefs fan. Every year we see people do trades that are interesting. But Kyle, let us know if there's anything that we didn't cover, man. We appreciate you big time for the support. But yeah, hope people understand that it's all about inspiring you to open doors. It's impossible to say what each and every league values different players as. But that hard work to improve your team is all in the negotiation. It's all in the conversation, the starting of a deal. I'll send you this whiteboard over in the Dizzy, so you have that. He says, would you trade Bryce Young for something if I draft 2 quarterbacks this year? The issue with trading him is I just don't think you get enough value in return to trade him.
Well, in the community, if I'm not mistaken, he should be worth the like the 111, 112, 110 to the 112.
What's he worth right now?
According to the community, he's worth the 111.
So, Bo Nix right now is our 108, 109. So you're going to trade to the 111 for the guy that went number 1 overall last year. New coaching change and everything. This feels like when I was telling people to trade for Trevor Lawrence after his rookie year. So I would not, because I don't think you get enough value.
Yeah. We were saying to trade the 111 before the NFL draft earlier for Bryce Young. That's just really valuable at the moment. So I'm happy to stick here with Bryce Young. And you have an extra quarterback here. I think that's what's important if he were to get something like that. So yeah. I would keep Bryce Young.
Please let us know if there's any last minute questions, anything that we did not get to. We appreciate you big time. Someone signed up. I'm going to add him as a friend here. And I think we get to ATJ tonight too.
Okay.
I think we can do ATJ tonight too.
Is ATJ in the chat? I think he was in here.
Let's definitely get to him tonight as well. We appreciate you, ATJ. He is here. You'll love to see it.
Awesome. All right, let me pull up his team here. Change this league setting, and then we can go to the contest.
Yes, sir. As we are going to the next team, ATJ says he's got a draft in a couple days. You'll love to see it.
Oh,
As
boy.
we are going to the next team, just a heads up to anybody watching. If you want your Dynasty team reviewed by us, it's very, very simple. All you need to do is become a Mother Flocker member with the promo code LAND. I put a direct link in the chat for you. But not only do you unlock a Dynasty team review from us, you also unlock our rookie report, our rankings, and everything you see here on your screen. And of course, you are supporting Badaki and myself. You're keeping the lights on for us, helping us run the ship.
We appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
So if you want to know what to do with your picks, what to do with your team, consider becoming a Mother Flocker member with the code LAND. All right, go ahead.
A 12-team SuperFlex half tight end premium start 10. Looks like you can start up to 5 wide receivers. Excuse me. He said, "This is my 3rd season in a big money dynasty league that I'm in. I initially had Watson and Dak as quarterbacks with the start of the season, and once I felt my team wasn't good enough to compete, I started selling players for draft capital. I was also able to hit on some of the later rookie picks, such as Puka, Tank, and Kyron, that I put myself in a very good spot currently. My rookie drafts in a couple days, I feel like the team has a very good balance of really good young talent to go along with some great draft capital still. So I'm genuinely curious what you guys would do potentially what you guys would potentially do if you were the owner of this team. Also, some suggestions of the roster cuts would be appreciated. I'll attach a screenshot below the rosters and picks I have accumulated as well. Looking forward to potential getting to team breakdown. All we appreciate you, HTJ. Thank you so much, man, for all the support. You've been with us for a while here, but we'll definitely break your team down, no doubt about it.
Yeah,
And
12 teams, SuperFlex, start 10, tight end premium. Okay.
Yeah, looking at it here, it looks like you're number one.
You are
Thanos, according to the community
mucho.
Here. Uno mucho mucho uno. And the draft capital is phenomenal. So let's break it down. Let's get straight into the draft capital and maybe some people that you can cut, in my personal opinion, afterwards. CJ Stroud, Bryce Young, Mitch Trubisky, gone. Deuces, thank you so much. That's cut number one. Phenomenal quarterback room at the moment with some draft capital. At the running back position, Kyron Williams, Javonte Williams, Chase Brown downtown, Tyler Algier, Shamaze P. Ryan, Jeff Wilson, Naeem Hines. Personally,
Naeem Hines is gone.
Thank you so much for your service, but that's cut number two. I would even throw Jeff Wilson in there.
Yeah,
I'm cutting Jeff Wilson and Naeem Hines. Good, that's three cuts right there so far. At the wide receiver position, where you can start 5 wide receivers, if I'm not mistaken. Puka Nacua, Garrett Wilson, George Pickens, Rashad Bateman, Wanda Robinson are your top 5 wide receivers. But with that draft capital, take a bye to Jalen Guyan, in my personal opinion, and Justin Ross. Thank you for your service. I love the story, Justin. I know you're Kansas City Chiefs. Call it down. LT Gray, I'm sorry. Cut him.
It might be time to move on, gang. If you were a Justin Ross guy, it might be time to move on. Yeah, Guyton's gone too.
Yeah, so that's Mitch, Jeff Wilson, Naeem Hines, Guyton, Justin Ross. That's 5 cuts. At the
honestly, what about Samaje? Because they just added Estime too, and they were already using McLaughlin. You couldn't start Samaje if Javonte was down last year anyway.
Sure, you can. That's 6 cuts.
Yeah, these 6 names you can cut.
Okay, at the tight end position, Dalton Kincaid, Cole Kmet, Michael Mayer, Daniel Bellinger.
I don't want to cut any of them, actually.
I don't want to cut any of those guys because anything can happen with those tight ends here. But look, from what I'm seeing here, this team is great, especially with the draft capital. I love that you hit on Puka. You said you hit on Tank Dell. No, was this Tank Dell that you said you hit on? But I don't see him on this team. I wonder if this is the team, by the way, ATJ, that you were just talking about. Is this a team that we were talking about earlier today? In the fantasy hotline? Just traded him. Okay. That might be correct here. I think we were talking about that trade.
What was the trade? I remember him sitting on Sleeper. I'm just trying to remember.
He was him for...
Here it is. I see. The 103. He got the 103 and the 203 for the 107, 205, and Tank.
Yes.
So that sounds like probably Neighbors or Daniels.
Yeah, that's what it was. And that's why I said that. I said I like the trade, so I would personally would have done that trade to move up for Neighbors.
I like it too.
Especially if you had Puka, Garrett Wilson, especially with the draft capital here that you have. Yeah. So I think it was a great trade.
Let's talk through it. I don't think you can trade Kyron anymore, but we can look at that. And I don't want to trade anyone outside of... Well, I don't want to trade anyone, but I know how much value you can get for Stroud. At least before the NFL draft you could. So we'll look at that. But I wonder if you have tried to sell Stroud. I think we talked about that video. Let me know, ATJ. I could be wrong. But you've got incredible draft capital here. You're probably going to have Daniels. You're probably going to have Neighbors. And then you're probably going to have May or McCarthy here.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I would be open to pivoting off the 105 and moving back in this league.
In that format.
Yeah. So we will look at that, but if we were to stick and pick, this is what we're doing. But I am open to moving back from the 105. We'll look at that. But at the 203, it's really like who's the best player available. And you could go either way. Your running backs are good, but you wouldn't mind adding a Brooks or a Benson here. Your wide receivers are good, but you could also add one of those names for sure.
Yeah. At the 203, and once again, just using as a reference, Michael Penix went to the 203 in our rookie drafts. Keon Coleman went after him. Jonathan Brooks went at the 202. That's kind of the range of some of all those players that you could potentially get a hit on either one of those positions the way you would like to go.
You and I would prioritize Brooks and Benson over these wide receivers, but Leggett, Coleman are names there. That's probably where you're. Oh, sorry, Pearsall too. My bad.
Yeah, Pearsall. I feel like Leggett is more at like the 207. Feels like Leggett's
in a lot of leagues he might be.
Yeah, so it's like Leggett at the 207, Polk at the 207. Maybe I don't know how high you want. If you like Adonai Mitchell, ATJ. But yes, if one of those running backs land to you at the 203, that's probably best case scenario there. If you can do that.
Yeah, and you've got so many picks here. Oh my goodness. So you can go probably. This team could afford to do even a quorum. You could get a share of quorum here. And I mean, Penix, by the way, could be in play as well here too. I think the 203, you can let him fall in your league, but if he gets to these 7, 8, 10 picks, I would prioritize him at the 7 and then try and get Leggett at the 8. Maybe he's gone. Okay, a Polk, whoever. And you can also try and get your share of a quorum, like we said. Franklin, Burton. These same guys all across the board. And then 304, that is really the Baker range. The right range, maybe he goes earlier. If people catch on, the Sonat range. The Lloyd, he's probably going earlier than that, but we'll put him in there anyway. Wilson sometimes. We said Corley. And then, to be honest with you, ATJ, what I'm realizing right now is there's a big fall off after the 305. I'm just realizing that as we did our draft yesterday. I loved every single player until the 307. After that, I felt like we're reaching for straws. Some of these will be good names, by the way.
No question. Some of these are good names. It's just some of these have interesting landing spots, but still, I would agree. Everyone else from the Malachi Corley, from the 303, the 301 to the 307, all have interesting landing spots, decent draft capital that we can picture a pathway for some of these guys. So definitely keep that in mind. Just all depends on how your league goes.
But yeah, I would be willing to package with the 405 to move up. I would be willing to do that. Or I'd even package these for picks next year or something.
And HEJ said team 2 could draft a quarterback potentially. That's okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Marvin Harrison Jr.'s, Malik Neighbors, and you still get a quarterback at the 105 with JJ McCarthy and or Drake May. I mean, you still you're in a good situation. If anything, I feel like maybe you want that to happen.
Yeah, that might be best case scenario for you, to be honest.
Yeah, because
let's say
that really simplifies your wide receiver room there.
Let's say you trade back from the 105. I want to explore that idea. Honestly, I'd move to the 107 all the way to the 112, and it depends on what I can get. But I don't know.
CJ
you're not maximizing value.
It'll be CJ Bryce and hypothetically May. Let's just say he gets Marvin at the 103. So it would be CJ Bryce, May or McCarthy. Sorry. It's the other way around.
Yeah.
Let's say that he drafts Marvin Harrison at the 102. So you have CJ, Bryce Young, Jaden Daniels with Neighbors, and then you trade back from the 105. I mean, I think I'm happy doing the trading back from the 105, depending on what you can get.
Well, that's what I was going to say. You only trade back if it's Daniel's neighbors. You do not trade back if you end up with scenario 2, which is Marvin and neighbors, because you want to grab a quarterback at the 105 in that scenario.
I'm assuming HEJ, you think that is what he could potentially do. Let's look at a team that has the 102 out of curiosity. See what we think. Jared Goff, Will Levis, Hendon Hooker. Right. So I can see what you're thinking there. Why he can take a quarterback. He's pretty decent on wide. I mean, no, 5 wide receiver star, so he can go Marvin there for sure.
He might be thinking about Knicks at the 109 though.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Man, this draft is crazy. This draft is crazy.
I mean, would you do this out of curiosity? Like, let's just say let's play it out with this team, Team 4. You trade away the 105 and you trade back to the 111 and you get a Jordan Addison. Would you do that trade?
No.
Because I feel like that's
I'm
what we're
giving
looking
up Drake
for here.
May. I think I need more than that.
Okay. So you need a higher value pick than Jordan Addison there.
I think I need Waddle in the 111. I think it would
Waddle
have to be
Waddle in the 111.
Yeah.
That's where it starts. Okay. So that means at the 111 you get Lamakonki. I'm trying to think of these names. Lamakonki, Brian Thomas Jr., Xavier Worthy there at the 111. And then you get another wide receiver that you add onto this roster when it comes down to, Jalen Waddle.
Yeah.
I mean, if that is the case, I'm happy to then give up maybe like my 207 if he really wants to do that. Like, he's like, oh man, I need the 207.
I think because this Waddle deal?
Yeah.
I don't think so. Think about it. You might be giving up Leggett.
Yeah, but you're getting Jalen Waddle though.
I get it, but I don't
think I would do that. Quarterback. Anyways, let us know what you think, ATJ. But those are some scenarios there. I mean, like
you said, the 207.
The 207.
I think I would need it to be the 109 then, and I would also need something in return, like the 212.
Sure. These are some starting points here. You can even go to.
That guy controls so much of the draft. So, who has the 107? That's what I'm interested in.
That's what I'm trying to find. That's exactly what I'm trying to find. Did I miss him? I must have missed him. He must be on the top here. 107 is Team 2. Yeah.
So Team 2 has a 107.
Sean Watts, Kyler Murray, Deshaun Watson.
How about the 107 and Rashee Rice?
Because that's Roma Dunze.
Mm-hmm. And you get a Dunze Rice. And you only do this if you're getting Daniels at the 103 anyway. So you'd still have Daniels, Stroud, Young.
Right. Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting.
I'd also do it for Reed. Maybe you feel better about Reed, so maybe that's the one you want to go for first. Maybe you feel better about his situation. I get that. I would do that for Reed. I know you just traded him Tank Dell, so that's not going to work. But what about like something simple like a pick swap as well? I would do that. Like, give me his 25 first. I'll give him my 25 second. Just as an example. Oh, just trade in the 107? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's fair.
Probably not going to work. I mean, there's
That's true.
No reason to not try.
I mean, he traded up to get the 10. He traded up for the 103. That's what you just got. You got the 103.
The other thing I would love to do is get to the 106. I talk about this in all my videos. Someone make the decision for me. You want to take May? I'll get McCarthy. Fine. You want to take McCarthy? I'll get May. Fine. Totally fine with me. Let's go to the 106 and let's add their 201, and we're going to have to send them back our 207 we had. Is that right? Would you do that?
So you're saying the 105 for the 106 and the 201 for the 207? Yeah, You see, like I wouldn't do that. That's trade. That's essentially what we just tried to do the other day. Like,
So you're
why?
saying you
What
wouldn't take the 106-201 side?
if I'm the other guy? I wouldn't take that trade. But
Okay,
like,
but
if I could do it,
sure.
sure. If I could do it, sure.
Do we want to
But
send the offer or not? Is what I'm asking.
yeah, 100%. But I wouldn't do that trade if I was the other guy.
A lot of most of the trades that we're telling them to do, we wouldn't do. All right, we're trying to extract the most value, so I hear you. But yeah, even something simple like your 25 second is simple too. If he doesn't want the 207, he perceives your 25 second as more valuable. Or even like, I wonder if there's a player swap in here for us. He has Achan. He has Achan Kendre. What's our running backs look like? Yeah, right. Achan Kendre. I wonder if we can do like a Achan Javante. Probably not, but you might be able to work your way into it, you know. Javante, the 106 and Achan. And I will give you my 203. Do we have?
Yes.
I would do that. 105, 203, and Javante for the 106 and Achan. What does Keep Trade Cut think about that?
Interesting. I'm still trying to wrap my head around this Devon, Jalen Wright, Raheem Mostert. I know it's a one-year deal. I don't know. So who's going to take the back seat? Or is Jalen Wright not performing year one?
Let's say it's a 207 instead of the 203 there. 106. And by the way, guys, you're only moving back one spot. You know? So if you can do it for the 207. I know, dude. I know we don't think the guy's going to do it. We're trying to give him an option, though.
Oh, no, I'm not.
Like,
I'm not
let's give him some options. All right, what are you thinking though? What have you got?
No, I'm not saying I wouldn't have. I'm not saying I wouldn't do that trade. I'm just saying it's really difficult in this class to move back one spot.
Okay, I just did it yesterday, but
no, I know, but like I mean, you got something that you felt like was a good deal.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's impossible. Just I feel like it's really difficult.
Sure.
Because you feel like you moving up one spot and then giving up, trying to do a pick swap. And then losing out of that. But I'm not saying these are bad trades. I'm just saying it just feels that way at the moment.
That's fine. What ideas have you got for him here?
Yeah. Well, I think you kind of went through all of them, to be honest with you. I'm not trying to pivot off of anything else. I'm happy to stay here at the 105. I think the best thing to do, in your personal opinion, is to stick and pick. And if Daniel falls to you, I'm happy to. I mean, I already know if at the 105, if Drake May's there, I'm taking Drake May. So I don't need anyone to make the decision for me. I just feel comfortable taking May there.
So obviously this is a point of difference for me. I don't care if I get McCarthy or May. I'd be happy to trade back for a lot of different packages. But ATJ, you can decide if that's something you'd like to do or not. But yeah, I think you're in a great spot, man. I don't think it really is going to hurt you either way the draft goes. I think you're going to be feeling really, really good. And you're going to get some real impact players on your team. You're already a very good foundation. I just think this is going to make you a super team. Let us know if there's any questions that you had that we didn't cover. Is there anything else?
I think Kyron in the running back room is not as bad as we think. I think we would have wanted to trade away Kyron. And we kind of spoke about that, so maybe we should talk about maybe trying to.
I would still trade him away for what is he worth? Like, yeah, he's tough to trade right now. You might just have to hold. I don't think you're gonna get a good trade done right now. Might have to trade him in season.
What's the pivot options? I mean, let's look at Kyron. Kyron at the moment, he is RB9. I'd rather have Saquon Barkley. I'd rather have. Like, would you get James Cook in something? Like, would you rather have that?
Maybe, but I feel like we're already getting so many what ifs in the draft anyway.
Okay. So I feel like Saquon Barkley feels like the only one you could pivot to. Saquon, I don't know, Kenneth Walker, I think I would like to pivot to still as well. I know a lot of people have different questions.
I actually agree. I would rather pivot to a James and get something like you mentioned, a Ken Walker
Yeah, because if
plus
I can get
something,
James in something, I mean, I feel pretty comfortable with James Cook, and I don't
HN
think,
plus something.
yeah,
We've already seen HN excel in a role where he is not the only dude. ETN,
I think it gets iffy. Like if you think of Josh Jacobs, that feels iffy.
yeah.
Um, obviously you kind of know how we talk about Josh Jacobs there, ATJ. I think Rashad White's still iffy. As a Pacheco feels like that's too far down of a tier.
Yeah. How do you feel about Kyron right now, by the way? I mean, I'm of the mindset that I think there's a portion of the community who is not reacting enough. I think there's a portion of the community who is overreacting too much. But I'm certainly concerned if I own Kyron Williams. I find it a bit silly not to be concerned. Only reason is because Sean McVay is literally the king of turning scrap into stars. You know, this dude has turned 5th, 4th, 6th round picks into superstars multiple years in a row. And he decided day 2 was necessary for this running back. I also hate the comparison I'm seeing online of people comparing him to the ET and Tank Bigsby situation. That just doesn't make any sense to me. Travis Etienne was a first-round pick. I think that's a different level of talent. I could be wrong. And Tank wasn't someone that we were really all that excited about. I feel more scared about Blake Corum than I do when Tank Bigsby came to Jacksonville. But
It's hard to gauge because Blake Corum is not the pass catching back that Matthew Stafford can just pepper. He is the I'm going to hand it off to you and go get it. Now, Kyron Williams didn't get. I don't think he got crazy. I mean, he got 38 targets in the air
and
so
on the ground. He was the do it all.
He was a do it all, and I think there's going to be a workload for Corum. Now, how much of that eats into Kyron Williams? Like, is Kyron Williams still a top 7 running back? Can Kyron Williams still finish as a top 7 running back with Blake Corum in that backfield?
Maybe.
I would say not. I would say more that kind of now more pivots down to 10 to 15. If I tell you right now, I put my money on Kyron Williams finishing, it'll be more 10 to 15, not top 10. Now, I could be wrong.
The issue is how much of Kyron's value came from rushing touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, Kyron
had 12 rushing touchdowns, and he missed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games. He missed 5 games. Yeah, I mean, you almost a touchdown a game there. If Blake Corum comes in, I don't know.
I'm trying to think of those touchdowns, those context of those touchdowns. Was it easy? Was it a bit difficult? Was it like the 4th and 1? He was
certainly fantastic. He absolutely dominated in his role. But we know Sean McVay. Remember, guys, Cam Akers were just a year removed from an offseason where he went down on this stretch and won people leagues and was one of the most efficient backs in that time span. Sean McVay sets up the run game really, really well. Let me ask you this. Are you sure you want Kyron over Jonathan Brooks?
Yes.
You are?
Yeah, I'm sure about that. I would say the same thing with Trey Benson.
Okay.
Based off draft capital, based off landing spot and situation, and my projections of how those guys are going to have worked throughout the rest of their career. Kyron Williams is there. He was a 5th round draft capital. And now he has Blake Corum for the next 4 years, where Jonathan Brooks has, Miles Sanders, who's probably going to get cut after this year, Chuba Hubbard, who is nowhere near the talent, and then the same thing with Trey Benson, who has James Conner, who's on a 1-year contract, who can't stay healthy for a full season. I feel significantly more comfortable with both of those situations over Kyron Williams.
That's my concern. I'm not 100% sure. I absolutely want Kyron over a Brooks or a Benson.
And that's probably because, and that's 100% based off of the production that we've just seen off of him, which is fair. Like what he did is great, and where once you see it, it's hard to envision a rookie doing that. But once they do it, I don't know. I feel more comfortable.
Yeah. Do you think Kyron is more talented than Benson or Brooks? Because I couldn't tell you for sure he is.
I don't
What I
think
can tell you is
I think
Jonathan Brooks just got a second-round draft capital, and we know the
that's
hit
why
rate for that is through the freaking roof. Round
this is
two
what I was
running
gonna say.
back.
I think Jonathan Brooks is more. If I
Round
had to
two
put
running
them,
back.
if I had to put them in order,
65% hit rate.
yeah, I mean, Kyron Williams is an outlier with that hit rate with the 5th round.
But Kyron Williams could be the next great outlier for the next 4 or 5 years. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know how to value Kyron, but if I knew I could pivot to a Brooks and get like a Leggett on top of it in a draft, or if I could pivot to a Brooks and get a Pearsall, a Bowers or something, a Ladd, I would probably do that in a heartbeat. I am not 100% sure that by the end of the year, Kyron's more valuable than Jonathan Brooks.
I think this is what we both said it earlier. Would we be surprised if Trey Benson, Jonathan Brooks doesn't automatically start day one? No, because James Conner is ahead of them, is ahead of Trey Benson right now from what we are projecting. And Jonathan Brooks, we don't know about the ACL. But the second half of the season, I can see them outscoring Kyron Williams from weeks 10 to 8, from weeks 12 to 18, 10 to 18, right? 12 to 18. I think I'm just thinking about the long haul. I would rather have these younger running backs that I believe in and have a better draft capital, in my personal opinion, a better situation.
I have shares of Kyron in the Alpha League, and I don't know what to do with him. Really don't know what to do with him. But anyway, all that being said, there's certainly scenarios where I would sell him, depending on what the return is. Because like I said, I think Kyron will be more valuable than these dudes, but I don't know. Like, I do not think Sean McVay, with the way that he drafts, spends a day 2 pick on a running back and doesn't intend to use him. Like, let's just say Blake Corum takes 20% more of what we just saw from Kyron Williams, or more realistic, 30%.
Well,
that's going to have a huge impact.
I actually think that Blake Corum is going to be the first and second down guy.
I think it'll be a true split. I think what I'm concerned about is, and I know it's not the same, but I'm just thinking about when Singletary and Moss were split in the backfield in Buffalo. And the offense is going to be better. It's going to run through the running backs even more.
But you couldn't rely on one. You didn't know who to start.
I think you can start Kyron for sure. But I just see a scenario in which we really regret not pivoting to one of these running backs with this draft capital.
I'll be honest. I don't know. I think Corum is going to eat into that first and second down carry. Maybe not in the first half of the season, but in the second half of the season, I won't be surprised if Corum is the workload guy and Kyron is a third down, we're in long situations type of guy. And Kyron could play both because he's seen him, but Blake Corum is known to play first, second down.
Well, Kyron was averaging a touchdown a game on the ground alone. That doesn't even include what he did in the air. On the ground alone, he's averaging a touchdown a game. Think about, in the last 3 years, who's been the best goal line running back in college football? It's Blake Corum. It's not even close. So,
but
we got to adjust some way. Are we not clicking here? Like, are we not going to bet on Brooks? What would Brooks have gone round 1 without the injury? I mean,
I think Brooks.
I don't know, dog.
I think Brooks were exactly where he needed to go, even with the injury, which is tells you something.
That's what I'm saying. Anyway, conversation for a different day. ATJ, is there anything we didn't cover that you wanted us to cover? I'm curious. I'm curious if there's anything that we didn't get to that you were like, oh, I really wanted you to touch on that. I'm going to send you this whiteboard over in your hotline. So you've got
13 out of 15 Kyron touchdowns came within the 10-yard line. If that is true,
asking the right questions here.
If that is true, then my expectation is that Blake Corum is going to take those touchdowns.
Not all of them, but I think let's say he takes 5 of them, 4 of them.
Well, that doesn't make him a top. That pushes him into the top 10 to 15 range that I was talking about, not top 7.
Exactly.
Or top
Would you
10.
package any of the seconds? Honestly, in this class, I don't think I would.
No, no. I
This
don't
class
think
is
so
so
either.
deep. I think I want to just take as many shots as I can.
Yeah, I would agree there.
Yeah.
The seconds are extremely valuable here. I mean, someone sent me a 25 first for the 201. And I'm like, shit, I should take that. But that, like, that's how I feel
Yeah.
right now. But maybe that's
he
just
did have 112 combined yards per game, but I mean, James, do you expect Kyron to retain the same exact role as last year? Because if you think about it, Kyron was one of those very few running backs who owned the vast majority of his backfield, like 75 to 80% of the opportunities, or of the rushing share, if you will, snap share, excuse me. So is that snap share going to come down what? So if it was 75 to 80 last year, is that snap share coming down 70? 65? I mean, he dealt with injuries last year already. Are they going to try and keep him fresh? These are the questions I want to ask myself, and I think we should all ask each other too.
Yeah, I agree. ATJ says Benson or Brooks for this team specifically, they both fall to me. We were just talking about this before we went live.
Honestly, the more I think about it, the more I think Brooks should be the number one.
I went Benson yesterday in our rookie drafts, and I told Zach before I went, I was like, damn, I felt like I should have went Brooks before we got on. But I think both of these guys are going to be successful. It just depends on which one you believe in more.
Yeah. I think the draft capital, honestly, the hit rate is very good for both of these guys. And there's a really good case both ways. I mean, the people who are going to say Brooks are going to say, well, Benson is going to have James Conner there. They're not going to think about the future, I don't think. They're just going to say James Conner is there. As if, like, Benson can't just beat out James Conner anyway. James Conner's a great back, but he never stays healthy. And Benson also is a very good talent. The people who are on the Benson train are going to say, well, Brooks is coming off an ACL, and Chuba's still going to get work there anyway. And also, Benson is on a better offense. So there really is a fantastic case both ways, honestly.
100%. I mean, and Brooks has Canellis coming from the Bucks, who just gave Rashad White a top 4 finish.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's so many arguments both of these guys can go. I still went Benson, who was first in my rankings, but I won't be surprised if I have a little bit of both.
I don't really know what the answer is right now, to be honest with you.
No one's gonna know until the season starts, and then we're saying shit. Well, we should have all went Brooks, or we should all went Benson. Once one of these guys,
I think,
are not who we think they be.
If I knew Brooks was gonna have a Breece Hall type recovery of his ACL, I would lean him. But what if it's? I know it's a clean cut, but what if it's Saquon type recovery? So. Anyway, ATJ, any last minute questions? You are our last review of the day. We appreciate you big time. Anyone out there watching who's like, wait, how do I get my team reviewed? How does this happen? Well, very simple. All you got to do is become a Mother Flocker member with the promo code LAND. I just put a direct link in the chat for you. And when you sign up, you get our rookie report. You get a Dynasty team review. You get our rankings. Everything you see on the screen. You also are supporting Badaki and myself in our quest to support our family with what we love to do, and that's talk football.
We appreciate you guys.
Yes. All right, well, that is it. We appreciate you big time. Hit the like button on the way out, and we'll see you guys very soon. Tomorrow night, we will be live. Another real draft to show you. We'll see you then. All love.
Love.